Greetings, everyone, and welcome back. We're here at the Redmond studio, the Microsoft campus. As usual, we are the Xbox Stream Team on the channel here, twitch.tv/Xbox, and we're here for an amazing event today, something that we have a lot of games that we're working on with this, but it's the Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event. Rocket League, Forza, and of course, Madden are the three games we're working on. So amazing to be here and to do this. I'm Axel Toss, joined by Mr. Joshua Gray. How are you doing, good sir?
Doing great. You know, another great day for some video game competition. We had a lot of fun with previous engagement that we had with Rocket League, seeing a lot of great plays, a lot of great players that signed up. So I'm excited to see some great Forza races today, and different type of format with racing laps, times. It's a different landscape compared to head-to-head when it comes to trying to score a goal, let's say. But I really look forward to see these cars in action, these players in action, and to see these beautiful courses in action too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game, ton of fun. Car simulation game, right? You're seeing a lot of these cars as they are in real life, and the opportunity to drive it in different places is super thrilling, so definitely check it out. But yes, that's going to be what we're doing today, this event highlighting the Special Olympics mission to empower everyone through gaming, and it's all about Forza. Love a good racing game. And to help us through the action, we have a very special guest who will be joining us, good friend of ours, Ali Tack, a legend in the Forza scene, one of the best commentators in the business without a single doubt. This guy's been around the world helping Forza grow, and it's been amazing to see. So Ali, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we're looking forward to your commentary. How are you doing, my friend?
What a lovely intro, Alex. Thank you so much. And it's such a pleasure to be back here with the Special Olympics event. Last year we had a run on Forza as well. It's just been so great watching this event grow and grow. And to be able to join you guys here today for some racing. I'm very well as well, to answer your question. I'm good.
Forza has a very vibrant competitive community, a very vibrant player base, very multiplayer minded, of course, with Forza 7. For that matter, the Forza Horizon series, a little bit more laid back, but no shortage of opportunities to get in a car and have a lot of fun. So we're going to be having a competition here today, though. This is the Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event, so we've got to have some Olympic-style competition. We're going to have players competing in Forza 7, and they're going to be running some races, so it makes a lot of sense. So let's go ahead and get into our graphic here for the tournament, our tournament format here. We've got 32 players involved. We're splitting into two groups of 16 players each. We're going to have 4 races per group. So we've got a few different cars that we're using. We're going across a variety of tracks. And of course, you're going to recognize these tracks because they exist in real life, which is pretty cool. And the 2 winners here will be advancing to the Celebrity Showcase on September 18th. That's going to be a ton of fun, featuring all our games and some celebrities. And of course, we have some more nuanced match settings here, stock tuning, no upgrades, and times will be used as tiebreakers. That's the nice thing about racing games. There's not a lot of ambiguity. You're going to know who's going to cross that finish line because it's the beauty of racing against time. Someone has to cross the line first.
2 Forza Motorsport 7 winners will receive car racing suite passes, including a meet and greet with a Toyota professional driver and travel expenses. Those 2 packages value up to $7,500. So definitely some fun events and fun prizes on the line. That's pretty awesome. But from there, we will select the top players who will join us along the celebrities, so we'll have a full race lobby. And today, we're going to broadcast each group separately, so everyone gets their time on the broadcast. Let's recap those match settings real quick. 8 different tracks split between the 2 groups, 4 races per group, 2 different cars used per group, and the point system for race placement. First place is 20 points, second place 18 points, third place 16 points, etc. And we'll get those points tallied up and displayed on the screen after the races, but you can follow along as well from home. And we look forward to seeing everybody cheering on these different players that have signed up for the tournament. And let's take a look at the participants who we got joining us today for our Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event. Pool A, we got Spencer Franson, Dustin Maraglia, Stephen Michaels. Pool B, Anna Trow, Wesley Garber. Pool C, Jennifer Griegel, Joe Grooms, Chris Santacroce, and Pool D, Sean Lucas, Liam Mullen. So thank you again to everybody for signing up, and best of luck on the tracks today.
Yes, and that brings us to our race schedule. This is a ton of fun, and this is where we're going to bring Allie in to give us some intel here. Allie, we've got a 2015 Audi sedan on Bernese Alps Club Circuit, followed by Long Beach East. Then we're going to move into 2018 Honda Civic Type R at Maple Valley Short Circuit and Dubai Mountain Circuit. What are you thinking when you see that list?
Fascinating, right? So we're starting off in the four-wheel drive, front-engined Audi S3. Couple of different tracks there. Bernese Alps is going to test cornering. Long Beach is going to test acceleration. All-wheel drive, all about acceleration. So expect a little bit of skidding in the first race. Later on, we're going to go to the Honda Civic Type R, much more of a race car. Design, lots of grills on it, lots of air intakes you'll see, a few of them just for posing, but that doesn't matter. We won't rub it in here. First of all, to Maple Valley and then to the Dubai Mountain Circuit. Maple Valley has 6 turns around its 1.87 miles. Dubai has 16 turns around its circuit. It's very twisty, very difficult to stay on the road there.
Have you ever checked out that Dubai Mountain Course IRL? Allie, we know you travel. No, you have not yet. Not there yet.
I'd love to. The Jebel Hafit mountain pass. I can barely even say it, let alone visit it. Amazing. Well, 60 corners it has in real life. It's meant to be. Have you been? Is it incredible?
I haven't. We might have to research that though.
It's on the list.
It's
on the list.
Just for the betterment of just to.
Is there a school trip on the cards here? Right?
we need to get that extra context, right? Don't worry. We'll work on that, guys, on our end.
Yeah, but you know what it smells like when you're there. That's how you really know how to hug those turns, man. It's all about the smell.
Next level broadcasting here. Don't even worry about it, guys. But that brings us to our next group of players. First, we're going to watch Group A, and we're going to see those races. Then we're going to move into Group B, and here they are. Pool A, Colton Rice, Mike Pribeck, Christopher Davidson. Pool B, Julius Levesque, Austin Henry, J.J. Slayton. Pool C, Scott Chirac, Bill Carraher, and Thomas Stipe. Pool D, Dustin Wessels, and Nick Bessat. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, or thank you guys for playing. It's awesome to have all these participants here. Can't wait to see you guys on the racetrack. And Allie, here's what we're looking at for Group B. Slightly different track and vehicle layout. You got the Porsche 911 2019 GT3 RS at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Grand Prix Circuit, followed by Road America Full Circuit, and then we're moving into the 2017 Toyota number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing M&M's Camry at Watkins Glen Full Circuit and Sebring International Raceway Full Circuit. What are you thinking about that, Allie?
Yeah, 2 things to notice here. One of them is the cars jumping up in power. We're talking lots and lots of horsepower. Suddenly 500 for the Porsche, 700 for the Toyota. The Porsche is maybe a little bit more intelligent with the power. It's been designed to be a bit more of a scalpel. The Toyota, much more of a sledgehammer in the way that it puts it down. 5.8 liters of a V8 in that thing. We're going to be going to a lot more racetracks though. So we've got a lot of power. We've got some road to put it on. Everything gets wider. Indianapolis is a huge oval. We're doing the infield as well as up on the banking. And as we run through there, Road America, Watkins, Sebring, huge official endurance racing tracks, places that you can expect to see overtaking and expect to see some really classy driving.
Yeah, it's awesome just the variety each circuit provides. I mean, that is something that goes back in, if I may, traditional racing, right? That's just an integral part of the sport. And it's really cool to see the creativity everywhere. And at this point, we have legendary tracks that exist, like the 24-hour Le Mans, right? Like that's just one of those classic places. You've got, I think it's Nürburgring, where it's just
the Nürburgring,
right, which is just this massive track that's absolutely insane. I think it uses parts of like what's typically used as a highway road. They convert it, right? I think I'm remembering this right. And
yeah, no, you're completely right. Yeah,
sweet.
It's incredible. And it's cracked. It goes through a forest.
Yeah.
But one of them we're going to here at Sebring, the final track we're going to go to, built on top of a World War II Army base out in Florida. The place, they never replaced the concrete on the track surface. So the cracks there are so deep, so thick, that often car suspension will just shatter when it goes over it. Race cars just dissolve. It's like sandpaper that they're running on. Yeah. It's an amazing track. And it's going to be a great place to watch some racing, I think. Really dynamic.
That's amazing.
They've run endurance racing there since 1950 as well. So the heritage of Sebring is will match any track in Europe.
I love it. And we'll have to dive into more of these factoids when we check out each of these tracks. I will say one track I have gone to, and I think you were there, Ali. I know Race Boy was. I don't know if Race Boy's hanging out, but Circuit of the Americas in Austin. there was a Forza event there once upon a time, which was really cool. So I highly recommend anyone, and that's what's cool about Forza. We get to kind of experience this, and then get a nice. I mean, the game really does a good job of kind of showing you the architecture, you know, the specific cars you're using on each track. So this is a great way to, you know, kind of get a first look. But I encourage everyone, travel when you can, and check out these spots, because each track really just delivers very unique characteristics.
One day in the future. And what's fun is you can tell your friends, hey, I've been there. Just like we get to do in other games where they actually capture real places, like, oh, I've been there.
And if you're super cool, like I think Race Boy mentioned it. I don't know, Allie, if you actually get in the car and drive, but you know, that's next level, right? You're playing in Forza, and then just go hop in the car and take it for a spin if you're
if you're one of the cool kids.
Yeah, if you're one of the cool kids.
What a dream that would be. What a dream that would be. We'll be going at some point here to Maple Valley.
Yes.
Which is one of the Forza original circuits.
Yeah, so
that one doesn't have a real life equivalent. Although I've seen signs to Maple Valley driving out of Seattle Airport. So maybe you guys aren't too far away from it. I'm not sure.
We might have to investigate that.
Yeah.
I think we are starting at. Oh, is that where we're starting? Oh, okay, we are going to be starting at the Bernese Alps, though. So why don't we start talking about the race that we're about to get into here? So we are going to get into Group A, and it's going to be 4 races, and it's flight scoring, basically. You know, it's not like a death match in a first-person shooter where you're trying to find out who gets the most kills or something. This is racing against time. Everybody is going to have a time. Everyone is going to cross the line, and then what you do is you know, they're in order, and you appropriate points to whatever position they're getting. So this is going to be pretty fun, where we're going to have 4 races back to back to back to back, and then we're going to have an idea of who's going to be, you know, near the top after 2 races. You know, here's near the bottom, who can make a comeback. But Allie, this is a relatively common format in racing games, and I would say it does provide a nice amount of ability to, you know, make a comeback happen. Like, what would be really awkward is if we just did 1 race, and then we're like, okay, you won, congrats, you win. But typically in racing games, you want to have more races to kind of stretch out the abilities and really try to do a proper judgment of who's going to be the best driver.
Especially 6 laps for this first track. But go ahead, Allie.
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say is that there's kind of 2 different skills that you'll see at play here. On the one hand, there's how fast are you on a hot lap, just going around on your own? And then the other skill is how good are you at overtaking other cars on track? And that's why having a lot of different races is really useful, because you might be the fastest hot lapper in the world, but when you get behind another car, you just can't find your way through. On the other hand, maybe on another race, you get another try at it, you get another try at a different skill, you can get a more balanced feeling for where the drivers rank up against each other. So that's why I love seeing multiple races happening at once.
And we love to see the adaptation that happens amongst these players. Again, this is a competition. So if that first lap doesn't really go your way, I'm looking forward to see what type of decisions are being made by some of those players that are a little bit a couple cars back, and how they are able to overtake the ones that are in the front. You know, that's the name of the game when it comes to racing, but just seeing those adaptations, those decisions being made in real time, one of the most exciting things to see in any type of video game competition. And here we go.
And Allie, another question here as we're about to get into this. Let's pretend someone's watching who's completely new to Forza. What would be a couple bullet points of advice if someone's kind of looking at getting into this game, getting into this genre? Any tips for any newer players who are looking to endeavor on a Forza adventure?
For sure. I think Forza is the perfect game for that kind of a player. Just get out there, load the game up, and you'll have this whole suite of assists that can help you fill in the gaps of things you might not be able to do yet. For example, manual gears. I think we've all played racing games where you end up trying to turn manual gears on. You're not entirely sure which one goes up and down and when you should be using which one. You can switch that to automatic to start yourself off. If you're new to the game, you can also get some assists around braking. Get your braking points in and dialed in. You can get assists around managing the power as it goes to the tires. Essentially, what you want to do is start the game up, allow it to sort of push you through the tutorial, and by the time you get to the far end of that, you'll have yourself set up in a way that you can just really drive and enjoy driving without thinking all the time about which buttons on a controller you're hitting. You're rather thinking about where you are on the road and having some fun and enjoying yourself in a sports car.
I love it. Forza delivers that as close as you can get to real life, really. That's kind of their objective, right? How can we make something where people feel completely immersed where they go from driving their own car to experiencing what that's like in a video game. So yeah,
Cool,
that's cool. I
yeah.
think a great approach is kind of sit back, relax, and just enjoy the experience of driving a car and not being in danger.
Not being in danger, indeed. And speaking of danger, that is one scuffed up car that we're seeing. Had a peel out in a donut. I think they were either sending a message or unfortunately lost control. But that can happen, especially on these quick turns. So the handling, the Forza does such a great job in trying to really replicate what it means to handle these different cars, because cars handle differently and these tracks handle differently as well. Ali's seen Boogity here in the front here going into lap 2. He seems he has Boogity has such a lead compared to everybody else here. Do you think going into lap 3, somebody could probably try to overtake him, or is that lead just too far?
Ooh, we'll have to wait and see with that one. I think it's hard to tell. The race has already been very tumultuous on the first lap. We've seen Animate here slide off the road. Dustin Miraglia. He did say before the event that he sometimes drives backwards in Forza. That's one of the things he enjoys doing. So at very least, he's keeping the thing pointing the correct way around the track, which it's like a small win that we've got happening there. I think when we look at Boogity, though, in the lead there, it can all change. Your fates in racing can change at the flip of the drop of a hat.
And we are the Bernese Alps here in Switzerland. What kind of intel do you have here on this track here, Ali? Whether I guess IRL infamous points,
well,
or its use on the Forza competitive circuit. What do you got?
It's not a real world track. This one. This is a reimagining of the Bernese Alps in Switzerland. It is though 10 years old this year. I didn't realize that. Just coming into this event, getting the tracks together, I did notice. It's been 10 years since this one debuted in Forza 4, and so the Bernese Alps have been around for a little while now. This is a 2.52 mile layout, the shortest layout of the Bernese Alps, and it's one which really tests. All layouts of the Bernese Alps are going to test the cars around fast flowing corners. That's what you can see happening right now. But this one especially, once we cut into the infield here, this left-hander we're coming right up to at the moment, it starts testing the cars over the curbs. You get a lot more bumps, you get a lot more areas where the suspension's working, and the drivers are challenged in a different way there, not just on smooth tarmac, but on areas where the travel of the springs underneath the car is really getting exciting, and you have to fight the steering and you have some really spontaneous inputs to keep the thing going in a straight line.
I will say this looks like one of the more simple tracks, if I may, right? If you're looking at the map, I mean, there's not too many crazy turns going on. We'll compare it to some other tracks we have upcoming. So to any newer players, is this one to kind of maybe hop on and just to test out your driving? And then also, can you kind of shed some light on the mechanics of taking the turns, taking the straightaways, and what our leaders are really looking at accomplishing to improve their time?
Great. Yeah, I mean, so it is. You're right. I think it's one of those tracks that you should be able to jump onto quite early on, have a little go at. And the reason for that is it's so wide. In general, it's quite smooth as well. And so you can have quite consistent turn-ins. I think when you're talking about what to do around corners, how to go faster on Forza, there's 1,001 different things to keep in mind. I think when you're starting off, though, and especially for players who come from Forza Horizon, which is more sort of arcadey, and then move over to the Motorsport franchise, where things have a little bit more simulation involved in them, the thing that I often say to people to think about is how all the different tires on a car have a pogo stick on top of them. They are all connected to the car by a spring. And so when you think about how a car moves when it comes into a corner, how the weight distributes over the body of the car as it rolls into a corner, you can think about the outside pogo sticks compressing, the inside pogo sticks lifting up, and then bouncing back on the corner exit. The whole thing becomes, it's a little bit like racing on a very old mattress, if you like, especially with a road car like this. Soft springs, a long track like this, you're going to be bouncing around the place as the car tries to swallow up all those G-forces into its chassis and doesn't quite manage to do it in a very smooth way.
We've been following Animate Arc this entire race, finally overtaking the fourth player here in third. Boogity still on the lead, number 1. With a really good time, 1:42 in that last lap.
Yes.
This is Chris Santa Cruz racing out here. he got an invite back in 2019 to go on a dream ride with some vintage cars and a red carpet treatment. So no stranger to a bit of petrol, bit of a smell of petrol, and a bit of car culture is Chris. Nice to see him out there leading this race.
And although imaginary, I mean, it's kind of amazing. Like, we're literally cutting through the Alps in Switzerland, which is it's pretty fun that they were able to kind of imagine this and make this track up there in the mountains. But I imagine it's pretty cold, so I hope everyone's bundled up there in the stands. I feel like the climate would be really cold. Let me ask about that real quick, Allie. There are climate effects in this game, whether it's rain, things that affect your car. There's nothing at altitude that's messing with you here. Is there anything to do with like really cold weather? Maybe in your pit stop you need to do something a little differently. Anything going on here, Ali?
See, Alex, this is my kind of question, because we're about to get real nerdy. This is going from 0 to 100.
Let's go.
I love it. So, yes, high altitudes will thin out the air, which does a few different things for you. It's going to reduce drag, so the car will go faster, but at the same time, there's less air molecules going over the nice aerodynamic moments in your car and pushing it onto the ground. So you're going to get less downforce. That said, there's also less oxygen in the air to go into your air intakes, into your engine, and explode alongside the fuel. So you get a reduction in horsepower alongside that. All these different elements of how an environment and a changing environment affect a car are modeled in the game. And so you'll find yourself out on this track running a slightly different feeling car than you would feel if you were down, say, at sea level in a warmer climate. It's all stuff that car mechanics, race car mechanics have to think about as well when they're thinking about how to tune cars and how to do their best there. There's a world of complexity there that I love diving into. Yeah.
Now, Ali, does some of the burden of that knowledge and that performance also have to be on the driver themselves? Because I feel the mechanics can only do so much, especially when it comes to, as you said, the downforce. If you don't have the downforce necessary, that's going to adjust how you approach turns. So as a player, what type of adjustments do you need to have before you even press the gas pedal?
That's an interesting one. Yeah, it depends what kind of driver you are. Some people out there, they approach Forza, they load up the game, and they're all about feel and instinct. And, they just run it, and they can be as fast as anything, and they just know what to do, or they just adjust and adapt, and it's all in muscle memory. And other people, like me, who don't have that kind of killer instinct, have to be more analytical about it. So yeah, for me, it would be about, adjusting how much throttle you give when you're kicking off the car. And then when you start to practice the lap, you kind of have to run at 70%, 65%, a little slower, a little like you're seeing Bugatti do here at the start of the race, just to make sure that you're not going to spin and crash, and have that ability to build up your speed instead of just kind of sliding off the track, going at 100 a little bit too early, and psyching yourself out. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things that as a driver you can do as well. It takes different personalities though, and I think that's the fun thing about motorsports as well, is how different people approach racing and driving. You see it in Formula One, you see these clashes of character, and you see it in all sorts of different leagues of motorsport, and Forza included.
I remember when I was driving right after the rains hit, and I was hitting 35 on an exit ramp, and I lost control at 35 miles an hour just because of the slick roads. So that is how much of a change elements can bring to the table. So always be cautious. Even if you're in a video game, you still got to practice caution and self-awareness.
And by the way, we are seeing our player who is in the first position completing the 6 laps. In first place, the checkered flag is flying. Pretty nice there from Bugatti. Looks like the time 10:25.
Total nice.
8. Isn't it great? You don't have to worry about ties. It's going all the way to the 1000th, right? The 1000th digit there, way off to the right. There's no ties here, baby. We're gonna know. Bugatti finding success, and he's gonna win in the first race here, as we're gonna see the next players across the line, and I can actually change the view here, which I'm going to do.
West Dog, 2002 just crossed.
Go over to number 2 here. Okay, he just crossed. So let me go back to number 3 now. Let's cycle back down to all our racers here. And there we see Animate Arc trying to make his way through and complete this final lap. So what?
That's a good result from Anime Arc. We saw him at the start struggling, going a little slower and spinning a few times. Came all the way back to third. I love it. Great recovery drive there from Anime Arc.
And those points matter. Those points will matter because there's multiple races that these players have, 4 races each. So maybe you can't make it. Let's say you couldn't make it to the top 4 in one of these races. Don't give up. Anything can happen in the next race.
Yeah, I feel like I really like this track. If I'm trying to maybe improve as a Forza driver, maybe this is one I just grind. In Forza you can just pick a track, and as far as I know, you can just do as many laps as you want until your power goes out or something.
Yeah.
Or until you fall asleep. I feel like this is one of those tracks maybe I'd want to do that. What do you think about that, Ali? And I say that because it doesn't seem like a huge burden to get around this track, but it seems like there's enough little technical turns where you can maybe increase your skill a bit.
Yeah, I always say it, the more you go around the track, the faster you could think you can go. I'll start off on a leaderboard and I'll be 10 seconds off of the pole time. And then I'll think, I can't possibly go any faster. You run for, just make yourself run for 10 more minutes. And by the end of those 10 minutes, you suddenly think, oh, hold on, I've found another second there. I've found another second and a half. You just have to keep yourself in the game, keep yourself grinding, and you'll find those lap times coming down, tumbling down actually. And you'll get faster and faster. That's a great technique.
And I think obviously that's fulfilling. Like, one of the metrics that we look for as competitive gamers is a tangible way to see that we've improved. Guess what? There's really no better way to judge that than a racing game, because you're literally improving your time by a half a second, by a second, by 2 seconds, and that feels great, right? Just the ability to race and then actively practice, and then you're seeing yourself improve because your time is improving, and that track's not changing.
That was some good racing.
I hope not.
And I love how that's
So we are
replicated to,
working
in the video game space for us with Forza, but also, in real world go-karts. I remember a place in Burbank that was close to where we used to work, but they would have the times and you would be judged based off of your previous time, what lap was your best. And there was so much that I learned in such a small amount of time of like, wow, this guy was able to beat my time by 30 seconds. What did they do differently? Because it felt like I was going pretty fast. Not only is it escalation, but it's knowing when to de-escalate your vehicle. It's really knowing that motion and knowing the weight of your vehicle and how to utilize that weight in the turns so you have this kind of perfect flow, this perfect drift, getting around these corners. But that's in a small go-kart where the weight is a lot different compared to a larger car. So, watching the approach on some of these turns, and Ali, I'll direct this to you first. How long does it take for you to feel 100% confident knowing that you're maximizing your acceleration, you're maximizing your top speed on the straightaways, but you're knowing when to slow down before these turns happen?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, everything you just said about go-karts, Ayrton Senna said go-karting was the purest form of racing. And that is, every principle you just talked about there is absolutely reflected in car racing as well. As it goes up, the equipment gets more expensive, but the principles stay the same. How do you know you're maximizing is such a challenging question, and there are groups of people who spend their entire working lives trying to work out how to look at race car telemetry and say, okay, you're at 100%. I think the stopwatch never lies is the way that I would look at it. It's a bit of a cliche in motorsport to say the stopwatch never lies, but I think it's worth thinking about. Whatever makes you faster is the thing that you should do more. Even if it feels bad, if you have to be in third gear, the car feels like it's bogging coming out of that corner, but I'm faster doing it. You just have to learn, be analytical about the way you approach it. Past that, taking risks, learning how to push is as well. It's practice, experience. The fastest people practice the most.
Well, they have the shadow mechanic in racing games. I believe they have that in Forza, right, where it shows your ghost. Right on these, right? So you race, and then it shows a ghost, and you're racing against yourself. It's a lot of fun. I mean, where's the anxiety there? There shouldn't be any. You're racing against yourself. You're trying, when you join a competitive game, you're worried about beating everyone and worried about losing. That's what's so nice about just jumping in time trial, racing against your ghost. Don't be spooked.
Yeah.
And then you just try to get a faster time. So I think that could be a great. I think that's one of my favorite ways to improve, and that's why I really like a racing game.
I mean, anxiety, say maybe maybe not as much, maybe different, because if you're racing against yourself, you only have yourself to blame. And that could be, difficult. But honestly, that's the best way to learn, because if you're able to get your best time as an individual or a team, then it's ready to compete against the rest of the world.
And especially in racing games too. Like when the pros practice these tracks, they have strategy around every turn. So if you're starting and you're going around turn 1 and you have your little ghost that's also doing the same thing that you're trying to beat, you can take turn 1 a little faster, right? And that's your objective. Let's try to take turn 1 a little faster. Well, then there's turn 2. Then you want to take turn 2 a little faster. So that's kind of a methodical way to compete against your ghost. You know, you can start over as much as you want, right, Allie? And you can just try to optimize your turns methodically. I'm sure is that one of the processes that we see from competitive play?
Yeah, and when you're out in real world racing, you don't have any of these tools, right? You don't have a ghost. You don't have the ability to rewind. You can't do it twice. If you crash, you have to go back to the pits and pay all that money and get your car replaced. If you want to learn how to do motorsport, there is no better way to do it than in a sim or on a game like Forza, running around a track. You'll learn all the principles that you need, and you know, if your ambition is to take it to the real world track later on, then you can go in that direction after a certain amount of time and some experience. It's yes, it's methodical. It's about putting the hours in initially, but then there's a stage that it gets to, and this is, you know, where I stand at the foot of this mountain and can only look up it, where you just can't go past. Other people seem to get faster and faster and go fast and get more and more skilled, and it just stops being possible for some people. So, you know, maybe you're one of the special ones out there. Maybe you're able to get out there on track and keep accelerating, keep moving into those alien territories. But for the rest of us mortals, we just have to sit back and watch and wish.
That's why we have to get Race Boy. I don't know. Maybe we have to do something to that guy. We have to like blackmail him or something, because he's got all the secrets.
Yeah.
He's the wise man at the top of that mountain that we need to talk to get that knowledge.
Okay.
Looking at a leaderboard here, based on the first race, Chris Santacroce. Great job, dude.
Boogity, yep.
He was Boogity there at the top, followed by Wesley Garber, Dustin Miraglia, Stephen Michaels, Liam Mullen. And we're going to go into the next race very soon here. We're rocking the same car, 2015 Audi S3 sedan. But we are going from elevated to sea level, I might suggest, because we're going to Long Beach East.
Ooh, Long Beach.
There are a few Long Beaches in the world. Which Long Beach is this one referring to?
Well,
LA.
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 That was my number one.
Los
pick.
Angeles, Long Beach. There we go.
Long Beach East.
So we're going from elevated in the mountains to sea level.
Sea level.
Is that right?
That's right.
Is that right, Allie?
Yep. It's hot and sticky there as well.
Yes.
It's a really warm track. It's also a road track. I've walked around it before.
Cool.
It's just public streets most of the time. So it's really interesting. One of the most interesting things about this track is how the edges of that public street have paving on them. And so you'll find yourself bumping up and down on those little curb edges. You'll be hitting potholes. It's a very, very risky place to drive quickly. It's going to be very exciting. Same car, though, the Audi S3 sedan. So it has got that soft suspension to absorb a little bit of those bumps. Although I don't think there's any car in the world that you'd want to be running up and down pavement on in that way.
So we think mostly flat track, maybe more elevation gain in the previous track. I will say there's no more polar opposite choice we could have done. We went from the deep snowy mountains way up in the sky, and now we're going to Long Beach. We're going to Long Beach.
Long Beach it is, yeah.
From the mountains to the beach, Joshua Gray.
Mountains to the beach. You know, I think about how salt affects not just the air, but how salt can affect your vehicle.
Oh.
And I think about, well, it's over time, right? But each of these mechanics and teams have to create strategies to make sure the salt doesn't disrupt, you know, the vehicle before the race, you know, especially after it's in storage, but during the race. So are there any other particular strategies or precautions that some of these drivers and teams take in order to avoid any salt damage with the car being so close to the sea?
Wow, I've never thought about that. I've heard about it at Road Atlanta, which we won't visit today, but there's a lot of clay around that track. So you'll see a lot of red clay dust around the place, and I think the engineers have to deal with that. I think here at Long Beach, I've never heard of it, but I would be surprised if it doesn't make a difference. You're thinking like I'm thinking, Joshua. I like it.
All these nuances that you got to know about. Here we are. I mean, you know, I kind of wonder what the drivers are wearing. You know, you're in the mountains and you're cold. You're probably bundled up a little bit. But here's LA. It's hot. Maybe you get a little bit of ocean breeze, but thankfully you don't have any metrics like that in Forza to deal with. The climate, dealing with dehydrations, you know, other elemental comfort things.
You have to wear some sunglasses if you're driving in LA. I think that's obligatory.
I love it.
You have to do that. it is a very different place to be driving than the Bernese Alps. You're absolutely right. I think one of the most stark differences in terms of the track here is that this one, city blocks are the kind of corners that you'll see. So it's all right angles, very sort of sharp. You're going to see a few drivers certainly in the back flying off. Wes Dog's about to go through this very tight right-hander. It's very slow.
Isn't there a technical name? Oh, see, that's me. I'm going straight into the wall. Oh, it's such a
boogity.
What's the technical term again? I can't quite remember it.
Hairpin?
Yeah, hairpin.
Is it hairpin? I thought
Hairpin turn.
I'm thinking of another word though. I just can't quite call it right now.
I don't know. But yeah, it's a big difference between the last track and this one. The last track is all about these long, flowing corners, and here it's slow, sharp turns where you have to stop the car, stand it up, and get those. It's all-wheel drive this car, so you can get all four wheels accelerating on the way out the corner.
Another relatively tricky turn here in the bottom left of Long Beach, and we have a pass. That's Boogity going straight past West Dog, taking that turn a little bit better. They're going across. I guess this would be turn 2 here. Relatively easy 90-degree angle. No, West Dog into the tires. Got to turn around real quick, but Boogity taking advantage. He's going to be screaming along this fairway, or along the straightaway. And this is where you want to pick up the most speed, right? And I mean, in Forza, you got to identify, okay, where are my long straightaways where I can build up my speed? Yeah. Oh, you can't go full speed through the corner though, so you got to slow down. So it's all about managing those levels. Would you say that that's the straightaway there at the top where you're trying to get that max speed?
Completely, and it's one of the things you'll learn as a racing driver is it's very easy to do overtakes on a straight compared to on a corner. So if you want to be smart when you're choosing a car for a race, if you're in different cars, choose one with more speed so you can just drive past people in the easy bit rather than having to be too classy around the corners. Speaking of classy around the corners though, Boogity, race 1 winner, is looking very, very solid here indeed. Wes Dog did close down for a second place finish, I think, at Bernese Alps in race 1, but there's a little bit of a gap there, 14 seconds now between the leader and second place, so that'll be quite a thing to close up over the coming 6 laps.
I will say, some drivers are having trouble with this hairpin turn, and we got to ask you, Ali. Ouch!
Oh,
how do we? It's kind of fun though, because I would not be doing well on this turn. So, Ali, can you give us some bullet points here? How do you and actually, we're about to see our leader Boogity go towards this hairpin turn as well. What would be kind of some bullet points here to manage this ridiculous turn? It's a super tight turn. Obviously, you're trying to go as fast as possible, but you got to slow down. So what kind of tips would you give? Let's see how Boogity does here.
Ooh, nicely done from Boogity. Good slowing. Got the car rotated.
I have to slow down.
There's a few things you can't see here that you will see if you're driving in the game, and that one of them that's really important is the racing line. So painted on the track is this red and green line that will tell you when to be on the brakes and when to be on the throttle and kind of give you a feeling for what speed you should be going at. Wow, as he gets through a few cars there at the back of the straight. That's one thing that's going to be really important for drivers out there, especially if you're new to the game, you're looking at a corner like that and feeling a bit intimidated by it. That's going to help you out a lot. Follow the line, first of all, and then start pushing the line, start working out how to go a little faster. The pro drivers in Forza might use the handbrake through that turn, so might use the e-brake, and just give it a little tap, get the rear rotating, get the car skidding a little bit, and then get back on the power. That's some risky stuff, though. It's really, and it's a very challenging technique to get right. Maybe Boogity can do it, but a few of the drivers I think are going to struggle.
So you think the handbrake? So let's say you're taking that turn, Mr. Ali Tack. You're in your nice car. You care about it. You don't want your insurance rates to go up. You want to keep a clean driving experience, and I might be in the car, so you want to make sure that I stay safe and healthy. So how are you approaching that turn? Are you pulling the handbrake and going around it like crazy? And we're going to look at West Dog here on my screen at least. So how are you taking that crazy hairpin turn?
I think for me, it's all about consistency in a race like this. Just find a way to get through it that isn't going to be threatening your car into those barriers every race. It's faster to go slowly through the corner than it is to go fast and hit a bumper. So in general, find a way to go a little slower, keep that consistency. Wes Dog, beautiful there. Look at that apexing, really nailing it now that we're into lap 5 of this race, getting that experience down. And that's what you see in great drivers as well, is that just ability to take the mistakes you made on lap 1, lap 2, and just solve them and get past it. It's that problem solving in the moment that I love in these kinds of drivers. Fabulous.
And the experimentation as well, as you had mentioned, if I'm slowing down too early and I'm seeing that my other competitors are accelerating faster than I am, or I'm crashing, I have to decide where I'm going to start slowing down, where I'm going to press that brake, where I'm going to pull on the e-brake briefly. And if you're driving in my car, we're e-braking it every time. I mean, that's where you feel the exhilaration.
They're your premiums.
We saw a nice navigation of that turn once again by Boogity. I'm coming over here. This corner's giving a lot of our players trouble. Animal Arc, not too bad there. He just did a little tap to the wall, but then he was able to get right back onto the road very quickly. What about that, Ali? What's the best way to like just recover? Like if I'm running into walls or I'm having a little bit of trouble there, what's the best way to kind of just keep as much order as I can while getting around this track?
The car will sort itself out in Forza. It's going to be fine. So it's what it gets down to for me so often is just having that ability that racing driver's ability to just keep looking down the road, keep looking forwards, and not think backwards about what's happened. I'll make a mistake and I'll end up getting too much in my own head about it and make more mistakes. But great drivers out there and the guys here are just showing how to do that. They just keep looking forward and they keep pushing the limits. They keep driving as fast as they can. And, it's about keeping your opportunities open for later in the race as well. Anything can happen in racing. You can find yourself on the final lap with the leaders crashing and you just carving your way through. So as long as you keep your head in the game, as long as you keep knocking in your lap times, you're going to find your way up that field eventually. It's just got to happen for you.
All right, and right now we are through 7 laps out of 9. I'm looking at Boogity right now. The leader is going around turn 1 here, pretty smooth. I kind of want to see how he tackles this turn in this straightaway because it's fun. One of the keys here, Ali, is obviously, you're slowing down a little going through that turn. But one of the most important things is when you're going full throttle. You want to go full pedal to the metal all the time because you want your car to go faster. You want your time to improve. So how important is that when you're on the last turn going into a straightaway, kind of managing when you're going full throttle once you're around that turn?
It's such a great feeling going full throttle, especially in a car like this. All-wheel drive. It's got over 300 horsepower. It's going to give you that feeling of just like such a rush as you get going. It's going to sound great as well. And so a lot of the limiting, a lot of the holding back just comes from like that feeling of, I want to be doing this. I don't want to get on the brakes. That sucks. Let me keep accelerating. Let me keep going. And you have to always be reining yourself in a sense, in racing driving and saying, all right, actually it might not be the best thing right now to be on the throttle. I'm going to end up in the barrier over there. It's just that that discipline, that you see in really strong drivers. Yeah. Love the way this car sounds, though. It's such a cracking engine. It's an inline 4 with a turbocharger, 2 liters of displacement, and it really does the business. We're going to see the same engine layout in the next car that we see after this race, the Honda Civic Type R, and it's completely different in characteristic. It's a completely different engine in a lot of ways, but Audi really make this thing into a smooth and kind of very classic, powerful engine. It's got such a great sort of power application to it. There's no surprises and just feels and sounds great.
And this is what I was wondering. I didn't know if this would happen. We have a player going backwards. Okay, he turned around. I will say something in these races, you cannot collide, it seems, with other players. They are ghosts. That's why I was freaking out a little earlier. We almost had a huge traffic jam, but I'm like, no, wait a second, you can't run into them. There were 3 drivers in the middle of the road, and Boogity was going straight toward them, so I got scared. But you can't hit other players. So I guess one tactic would be you can drive backwards and try to mess with everyone. That's something maybe I would do. Sorry. You can't do that here, right, Ali? Everyone's a ghost.
Yeah, that's exactly. Everyone's a ghost. Everyone's ghost in this race. I think in the next lobby that we do, we will see some car-to-car contact. So later on in the racing, we'll see a little bit of that. But for this first one, it's just ghosted. Boogity here on his last lap it hasn't mattered. Led from the lead and hasn't really been challenged. So fantastic driving once again from Chris Santa Cruz, who's just done a great job. Destiny 2, he says, is his favorite game. Good choice, but maybe he's got a new favorite incoming here. Pretty good at Forza. Tough to have it not be your favorite if you're this good at it, I would say.
And not without adversity. He was not winning in the first lap. West Dog was actually in front. So Boogity had to kind of
Wow.
bring it back a little
Wow.
bit. And that's what's fun. I mean, I feel like it's easy to improve as the laps go on. Naturally, you're getting more experience as you race. So I think we're seeing a bit of that too. These drivers getting faster and faster. But there we are, Boogity crossing the line in first place once again. Not without a little challenge from West Dog though. West Dog was flirting with that first position. We'll go back to him. He's on the straightaway at the top. We have other drivers trying to get around these corners. I think that's kind of fun. You know, playing with your friends and just having a ton of fun is definitely a great way to approach this game. I feel like this could be a party game. I'm sorry. If I'm having a party, dude, and I'm inviting 20 people over, trust me, guys, I have big, awesome parties.
Game
and then I'm pulling up Forza, and I'm like, all right, guys, good luck. And I think that sounds like, I'm sure you've done that, Ali. I bet that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love that, you know, 2/3 of this lobby of these drivers has said their favorite game is Forza, and so many of them come back to that connection that you get through video games. They talk about racing with their friends, racing with their family, and training for these events. And that's the stuff that they love in this game. And, you know, I'm like I've been talking about it. I'm a big Forza community guy. I've got a whole bunch of friends who play this game, and it's yeah, that's my experience of it too. It's just such a great social way to chill out, race some cars, chat about cars as well, and enjoy yourself.
We're watching third place here make his way through. Just go backwards, man. I'd almost reverse it through the finish line, baby. So I have the Austin Powers question. If your car gets stuck, right, and you're forced to like kind of go forward, back, forward, back. What, have you?
Great reference, by the way.
Have you? First question is, have you ever experienced that? Second question is, what's kind of the best way to deal with a situation like that in Forza?
So actually, funny enough, I was racing in I was doing a content recording a while ago with Lando Norris, the McLaren Formula One driver, and he got stuck in Forza between two walls in exactly that way.
Oh, no.
And I think he showed me how to do it,
Good job,
which was just
everybody.
completely own it. He just stood there and went like,
we will start race number 3 in just a few minutes.
Went
So
on and on.
get a drink.
What can you do?
Yeah, the faster you get out of that situation, the less embarrassed you'll be. But hey, it happens.
Yeah.
And the true
does.
measure of professional is when things go wrong. And
Makes
if you're
you-
stuck between two walls of a car, that's a wrong place to be.
I mean, it makes you think of the Evergreen boat that kind of got stuck in the the canal.
on the canal. Yeah. Yeah.
It comes down to the vehicle you use, maybe. So you don't want to pull the Ford F-350 out on the track here. The massive. You might get stuck. So I'm all jokes aside, I'm sure that's a consideration. I guess smaller cars, how light the car is versus how the horsepower. This is something that is embedded within
Power to weight
IRL
Yep.
IRL racing. That's what they deal with. Just consideration. So I guess that's an open question there. How does weight and these different elements of these cars, how does that change the game? And do we see that as a consideration from drivers?
Oh, sure. I mean, we just saw a street track, right?
Yeah.
So this was Long Beach races around the street circuit. And what you'll see as a characteristic of street circuits in general is that you don't have any runoff at the sides of the track. It's just solid concrete walls. And so if you're in a heavy car and it gets caught up on a wall, it's very easy to just get stuck there. You want to have a light car and like a nimble car that maybe can take a couple of knocks if you're going to go around a track like that. At the same time, there are people who race trophy trucks at Long Beach, and they do great in it. Good luck to them. It's just harder.
Well, then you have different classes of races, so more power to you if you're racing against other truck drivers. I'm sure there's events like that.
Yeah.
That's the fun of racing and driving. There's a lot of different ways to pursue the sport.
There are. And especially there's a lot of different ways to approach, some of these tracks. But I'd love to ask your opinion, Alex and Ali, about it's 9 laps. The previous track that we were on, this next one is 11 laps. Is there a certain threshold, a certain no going back point, let's say after lap 3, lap 4, that you reserve change in strategy? You maybe go, I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay kind of with this plan and stay in this mode unless I'm in 3rd or 4th place by lap 3, then I have to change something. Do you try to compartmentalize the laps that way, or is it just every single lap you're looking at improvements or coming up with maybe adjustments to your strategy going in?
Yeah, long race coming up. 11 laps is the longest race that we'll see in this first group. And yeah, you're right. You have to pace yourself and make sure that at the start of the race, you're at that 70% mark, at that 80% mark. and then you push yourself to go faster and faster as the race goes on, rather than starting off at, really aggressive, going too hard. You might risk too much sliding off the road if you do that. So better to start a little gentle, push yourself forward and go. But every racer has different strategies, and different things work for different people. I have a friend who's much faster than me who will always say in qualifying, I'm going to go out and set a banking lap. I'm going to go out and just drive a slow lap that's going to get me there. And he'll go out and set his personal best every single time he tries to do that. There's some people who just can't go slowly. It's just not in their blood.
Yeah, it's tough too. I mean, it's really tough when you feel the power behind the car, especially going with this new car going to be showcasing the 2018 Honda Civic. And, when you feel that much power and everything's going right, obviously, it's so thrilling. But you have to know how to manage that power. And that goes, behind any car, any vehicle. How long does it take, do you think, for these players to adjust with the characteristics of, let's say, a Honda Civic compared to the Audi? Does it take a lap or two for them to kind of remember those adjustments?
They are definitely going to need to have a moment of adjustment between these two cars. The Honda and the Audi, I was saying before, both 2-liter inline fours, turbocharged. The Audi, though, is very civilized in the way that it has that engine put together. It's smooth, power band. You can put the throttle down and the thing will roll away and give you that kind of executive feeling of driving off into the sunset. The Honda is scrappy and punchy. Its power band is spiky, and you'll put the throttle down and you'll think you have no power at 4,000 revs. You'll get up to 6,000 revs and you'll be going at warp speed suddenly. It's a very, very different way to put an engine together. These two cars you could look at as similar on stats, but in terms of driving characteristics, they are fire and ice. So I think these guys are going to have to do a little bit of adjustment into the next race, and that's part of the skill of it, right? That's part of what we're doing here. It's a different way of testing the drivers.
Yep. That kind of provides, obviously, a ton of replayability, too. Depending on which car you want to focus on whatever day. It's almost like lifting different weights in a weight room. You have leg day, you have chest day. Not that I work out at all, but
it's leg day for me.
That's what happened.
Yeah, leg day again.
Is that a decent comparison where you have these different cars that require like slightly different approaches?
Yeah, for sure. It's a very different way of driving. This one's front wheel drive as well, which is going to be a big difference maker. That means all the power goes to the front wheels only, and the rear wheels are really just there to sort of stop the rear of the car from dragging along the floor with the Honda, because obviously the steering also happens in the front wheels. So there's a lot of strain happening in the front half of the car, not much happening in the rear half of the car, and it takes a different way of driving than with all-wheel drive.
Now, how does that affect?
Maple Valley short as well. Go on, sorry.
How does that affect like drifting? Whoever decides to do that, maybe that's a higher level thing, but front wheel versus four wheel.
Well, so drifting a front-wheel drive car, you can do it by putting the car into reverse. That's one way of doing it. Or you have to put little T-trays underneath the rear tires and then drive around with some T-trays skidding around under there. Those are the two techniques. You can't drift it though, because there's no power at the rear.
Right. It begs the question, though, what's the best way to navigate any tight turns? We're looking at Maple Valley Raceway. And we're seeing our leader, actually Mole Man, getting careened off to the side. Let me see if I can switch over to who's in first place. It's actually West Dog who's going to be leading the charge here. And that first turn, I have a feeling, is going to be very important. Or not first turn, but it's almost the tightest turn that we're seeing, I believe, on this track. That might be the third turn there. But this seems relatively simple here. It seems like our shortest track of the day. Maybe that makes sense because we're doing 11 laps. But not too many crazy technical turns on this one.
Yeah, you can see that in the mini-map on the bottom left there on the Spectate HUD. Quite a simple layout for this track, and it makes for a very sort of finesse way of driving. You have to be the most perfect around there. Boogedy with that first lap crash. We've seen our leader, the person who's won the first two races, slide off, and now Wes Dog up in the lead. That battle is closing up, though, as we jump on board here with Boogedy on the top left of your screens. I'm going to be very, very interested to see how this cooks out as the hunt begins.
Well, everyone's going for the #1 spot to be able to play in that celebrity showcase. And right now, Boogedy has that spot. Boogedy has won the first 2 races. But guess who's in second? Well, it's West Dog. And West Dog is winning this race right now, just in front of Boogedy. That's what we're watching right now. I love it. These 2 drivers here, at this point, battling for first. I think at this point through the competition, it's up to these 2 who's going to win, West Dog or Boogedy. And we have quite the fight here, Ali. And this is where we can get into some technicals on the competitive side. Like, what are you kind of thinking here? Oh, they're colliding. There's no ghosts here, Ali. Everything's changing. This is crazy. So can you kind of talk through the nuances of being in such a close race?
Overtake.
Trying to make a pass as we see Boogedy do just that.
That's amazing. It's so difficult to race this close together, and it's so impressive how these guys are doing it.
Oh!
Again. These 2 are going to go for a while. You can tell West Dog wants this.
Yes, another pass on the inside. They just basically swap positions. So how do you manage this, Ali? What's kind of the way to come out on top here? Do you just have to keep finding the, a tighter turn angle? Is that always what you're looking for?
It's chess now. They're playing chess against each other. If Boogedy positions his car on the right-hand side, chess with a few bumps. Chess boxing, maybe. If Boogedy positions his car on the right-hand side, Wes has to think about where to position his car in order to stop Boogedy from getting through and getting past. There's only so many different places you can put your car on the track and still have an optimal line. You can still go fast as possible around the racing circuit. And so you can cover off another car by just putting your car a little bit in the wrong place, pushing them a little bit in a cheeky way. It can go wrong. Formula One fans from this Sunday may have noticed it go wrong a little bit for Verstappen and Hamilton. But when done right, it's just an incredible dance. Here you go, Boogedy and West Dog.
West Dog, he was kind of driving in the grass a little bit, and Boogedy's going to take advantage. Boogedy was actually pretty far back for a time there, and I'm really surprised because that's like the straightaway portion of this track. West Dog not able to keep his wheels on the road. What's the importance of that? Keeping your wheels on the road. I understand there's some rules related to it, like you're actually penalized sometimes if you're off the track. Maybe there's different settings and different competitive modes where that actually applies. Can you kind of talk about that real quick? Obviously, it's important to stay on the road because you're going to drive faster on the road.
Yep.
But other than that, Ali, if you don't mind,
Rip up the grass.
Elaborating a little.
Rip up the grass. Between each race, Forza's devs go out and make the grass better again, and they have to plant the seeds. You don't want to cut corners in racing, or you don't want to extend the corners either. Those are the 2 things that people look out for in terms of people who are pushing a little bit too hard and then starting to get into a point where they need a penalty. So on the inside of an apex here on the right-hand side, if you look in the top right of your screen and watch Boogedy going around the first turn, you don't want to get over the grass on the inside and cut the corner, but then you don't want to run so much speed out that you're popping over onto the left-hand side on the exit in order to maintain that speed. Don't get a lasting advantage by doing something that's naughty. And other than that, you're kind of good. You can go all 4 off the road. You can still do it, but just don't get an advantage from it. And that's the key.
Isn't there a technical term, I think I've heard it before, where it's a dirty lap, let's say, if you touch a little bit of grass. Is that still a thing in Forza, or can you kind of explain that a little bit for anyone who's never heard of that?
So when it comes to dirty and clean laps, that's really relevant for leaderboards in the game. So every single track has a leaderboard that will say how fast the best players have been around here. I love competing and trying to get the fastest hot lap that I can. It's one of my most, it's one of the ways of playing Forza that I most enjoy. If you do that, if you put all 4 wheels off the circuit, then your lap will be invalidated. And that's called dirtying your lap. Your lap is then dirty.
All 4 wheels. So now, let's say you're just two wheels kind of teeter off. Is it still clean?
Sorry, yeah. Well, to be technical, 3 wheels is the limit. So if you have 1 wheel inside the track limits, then that's too few. You have to have at least 2 wheels in the track limits at any time, and then your lap will be valid. And if you have a clean lap, so it hasn't been dirtied, then it will be valid and allowed to go to the leaderboard, and it will stand there, and you can be very proud of it and show all your friends, and see whether they can compete against it as well.
Got it. I was never very good at getting the clean laps for whatever reason.
It's hard. Me neither.
It's not easy. I mean, I just want to go fast, and sometimes my wheels go a little long.
I know.
Staying on the runway to the highways. Up. To get those points.
Well, here we are, 8 laps out of 11. Boogity cruising USA, baby. He's doing just fine, way out in front. Let's see what's going on behind him. We have Westdog currently in 2nd place. Looks like he's neck and neck with the French. Let me see. Yes, actually 2nd and 3rd. We have quite the race going on for 2nd and 3rd. It's Westdog alongside Deranged Metal. They are competing right now, and Deranged Metal, his car looks like Deranged Metal. I mean,
Wow.
there are some marks on that one. Might have to go get that fixed up in the pit stop, but there's no time for that right now. He's trying to catch.
Oh, don't worry. You can buff that out.
Where did Westdog go?
That's right. Well, weld it and grind it. It'll be fine.
Oh, I see what happened. Okay, I think Westdog is actually lapping Deranged Metal. I think that because he's still holding 2nd place, even though he's a little bit behind him in the road. And this is a testament to just how well Boogity's doing here. Boogity is trying to get a lap onto our number 2 driver.
Wow.
So lots of good racing happening here as Boogity is trying to set himself up for success. I think with this victory, he would win all 3 so far out of 4. Now he can still get last in the 4th race, so he still has to kind of keep his wits about it.
I mean, Westdog's in a real good position if Boogity does fall in the next race to maybe overtake him. But I'm also looking at 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. You know, Animate Arc was able to get 3rd in the 1st lap, but then it was Mullaman of 1. But now we have Deranged Metal. It's already upsetting that, 2nd, 3rd, 4th place finishes here. And that upset could even go into the top 3. So anything can still happen in these races.
It's Deranged Metal, who said hi to one of those hay barrels. Typically around these tracks, you have receptive objects that will hopefully, cuddle your car more than destroy it, right? You got hay stick, you got maybe a mattress over there, you got tires that are softer. Is that typically the standard here, Ali? I mean, sure, we see some walls here and there, but most of the time, it's pretty forgiving to accidentally careen off the track.
It is forgiving. There's a fine line between being forgiving and getting an advantage from jumping off the wall. So I don't think it's possible to get an advantage from bouncing off the wall in this game, which is a really good thing.
Like in bowling for me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like in bowling, like having the 2 lanes up on the outside.
You use the bumpers?
Yeah.
You don't?
I use them.
But you can't get advantage from it, but at the same time, so it's going to be slower, but it's not too bad, and it'll cuddle you a little bit and help you around the track. I got to say, looking at Boogity here, we talked such a big game earlier about how different these 2 cars were, what a lot of learning he's going to have to do on track, taking it in his stride. So classy out there on track, Boogity. What a great driver.
Yeah, it's his final lap here. 11 out of 11, making his way to that finish line. Full throttle, pedal to the metal. Checkered flags, thank you very much. Well done, Boogity, getting his 3rd dub in a row. Now let me go ahead and cycle the camera back to Westdog, who is in 2nd place, and see how he's doing.
Was in 1st place for a stretch of time at the beginning of the race here.
Right. There's a huge battle between Westdog and Boogity. Looks like Westdog should be able to hold on to 2nd place. He does have 3rd place in front of him, which seems weird, but that's because he's trying to overlap him here, he's able to race just a little bit better and able to get a lap ahead. And I think Boogity might be doing something similar, just trying to extend his practice time at this point. But here we go. Westdog is going to be crossing the line in 2nd place. I believe he has also gotten 2nd each of these times. Still room for him to try to come back if he can have a great race in the next one.
Still a window of opportunity here.
So yeah, that's going to bring us to an end here for Maple Valley Raceway.
I love it. And this track, possibly in Seattle, I think might also be based in
I'm about to look it up.
Somewhere out on the East Coast as well. So, but yeah, there's a few different possible candidates where this could be.
It's like Springfield.
Yeah,
one in every state.
Yeah, it's the thoughts of Springfield right here.
Yeah, we're looking it up right now as our racers are concluding these laps. The next race that we have is going to be 5 laps. So, I mean, cutting it in half, the 11 to 5, yeah, shorter track. But
going to Dubai.
We're going to
Get
Dubai.
your Tesla ready or whatever. Your Lambo. Get your Lambo ready.
Yep, Dubai Mountain Circuit, 5 laps.
By the way, Maple Valley Raceway is a fictional racetrack location. Maple Valley Raceway is based in New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
Miles away.
Those trees make sense in the game. I'm like, Those don't look like evergreens in the Pacific Northwest, but those look like New Hampshire for sure, East Coast. New England, well done to our players here. And again, the storyline between, I say, our top two is either Boogity or West Dog. If West Dog is able to overtake and Boogity 2 maybe has some unfortunate scenarios that happen in the next lap, this could be a West Dog tournament. But Boogity looking so solid, amazing driving. I mean, really playing some textbook Forza here. But I'm keeping an eye out for Animate Arc. You know, Animate Arc was trying to cruise into that third place in that first lap that we started, that first race that we saw. But unfortunately, you know, Deranged Metal and the other player, Milliman 41, is just making it tough to see if anybody's going to go into that third spot. Now, as we get ready for this next race, again, 5 laps, they're going to have to readjust and think, okay, it's the same car, but it's a different track. And quite some turns in this one.
I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what the map looks like. We are going to Dubai Mountain Circuit, 5 laps. And just a reminder, anyone just tuning in, this is our Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event, a collaboration of Xbox, Microsoft, and the Special Olympics. It's really awesome that we're able to do this. I'm Axel Toss here, Joshua Gray. We're joined by Ali Tak, our gameplay expert for Forza. And we basically got 3 games of competition here: Rocket League, Forza, Madden. We have a celebrity showcase happening. These players are competing for some juicy prizes. Specifically, we got some car racing sweet passes that they're competing for today, but also they're competing to play in that celebrity showcase. So we're taking 1 driver from our first grouping, and right now that's looking like Boogity, doing a great job. And then we're going to take 1 racer, 1 driver from our second group. So we're about halfway through our show here for Forza. But yeah, having a great time.
Always having a great time. So make sure to hit that follow button. We're live Monday through Friday, showcasing a variety of different games. And we also have special tournaments like this that occur during the week or even sometimes over the weekend. But also make sure to check out the great content for the Special Olympics over at youtube.com/Special Olympics. And to, you know, showcase these players and to see a lot of fans tune in and really root for different areas. We had a Special Olympics Illinois, Special Olympics from the Oklahoma City University cheer some of these teams on. So happy to see a lot of people showing up and encouraging these players to try to get that first place prize. And also, you know, to highlight a lot of Forza, we show a lot of Forza on our channel. And even if it's not us live, we usually will host, you know, somebody playing Forza. So if you're a Forza fan, this is the right place. You know,
on that note, I mean, Ali, why don't you talk about some of the I mean, I've seen you on that Forza channel playing some Forza.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about some of your more regular Forza driving content?
We do loads of stuff. This is over on twitch.tv/Forza. We've got shows throughout the week for you guys featuring Forza Motorsport 7, Forza Horizon 4, a little bit of Forza Horizon 5, which has a lot of hype around. Shows there every now and again as well. And yeah, lots of cool different streamers. I do a little bit of both games. We've got John Iwana out there, Shannon McIntosh, a real-world racing driver, Verena May, who is a drifter, rally car driver, just such an experienced racer. And then also every Sunday we have Eternitum, who does a Spanish language stream. So if you guys are into Forza and you want to enjoy that with some Spanish language chat, come and check out the channel on Sundays, and you can get involved with that. Lots and lots of fun stuff on twitch.tv/Forza.
Que bueno. Love to hear it. Love to see it. All right, we're going to get ready for our final race for our first group, everybody. We have a second group that'll be getting ready after this one. We'll have 4 more races with them.
I have a question too about our maybe more of our real world drivers that you were referencing there, Ali. What's kind of the controller of choice or the setup of choice? Are we mostly how often are we seeing some car sim setups for some of these drivers?
You know, I've been in racing and doing racing games for 6-7 years now, and racing rigs have come such a long way recently. It's so exciting. The latest generation of especially direct drive wheels are amazing. We have shows throughout the week with different people running different controls. Verena does have an incredible Fanatec rig. It's very, very cool. Just check out her show. It's called Hey Watch This on Fridays, and you'll be able to see exactly how to get on with a wheel and pedal. I use a controller because I do sort of esports. I have a nice McLaren orange one.
Oh, wait, show that again. Let me take another look at that. Hold on.
How about
okay, show that a little bit closer. A little bit closer to the camera.
Closer.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Okay.
I
We
know as
match
well
almost.
that every Wednesday we have a show called Wheel and Pedal Wednesday, where we'll be where we run Wheel and Pedal with John Iwana. He has an amazing rig in the John Iwana garage, and so yeah, there's a few different. We go forwards and backwards. It's a game that splits the player base down the middle as well. You can have as much fun on a controller, chilling out in your front room, as you can in a dedicated interior of a race car that you might have in a spare room if you have the money and time and inclination.
Well, hey,
to
I
put that
feel like we
together.
have space here at the Microsoft studio. I don't know if we have money. We probably have. There's probably money out there somewhere. Right, Lennox. But maybe
Put it
we'll
in the
have to
budget
look.
for next year.
And actually, Turn 10 is probably not far from us. I'm just trying to think, how can I get a Microsoft or a driving sim?
They have a couple of rigs. in
Don't they?
Turn
They
10,
have a
yeah,
couple
full
rigs there at
motion.
Turn 10?
Yeah,
Okay, we
yeah.
might have- that's not too
There you
far
go.
away.
We'll make it happen. And now we are in Dubai.
Go.
The final race for our first group. Let's see if Boogity can close it out and have a perfect score for first place today, or if Westdock can overtake him and maybe have an upset.
Is this? Do we know if this is a real track, Ali? Mountain Circuit here in Dubai, or is it
Again,
could it be fictional?
inspired by a real
Gotcha.
road. This is inspired by what's called the Jebel Hafit mountain pass, just near Dubai in the UAE. It's a 60-corner, the real-world version, a 60-corner mountain pass that runs up and up and up this incredible set of mountains and peaks. It's named the best driving road in the world by many different people as well in magazines.
Wow.
So it's very cool. Here at the peak of the mountain, you can see it with the drivers approaching, is this hotel that you come around, get some fireworks, and then as you come around this long right-hander, you're going to start going downhill at this point. The roller coaster reaches its top point, and things start getting a lot faster suddenly as you go down this set of sweepers. It's very, very challenging, this little
Wow.
circuit.
So what goes up must come down. So you're screaming down a hill at this point. And that's what Boogity's doing, trying to chase down Westdock. Westdock trying to mess with Boogity's ambitions of winning here today. Westdock needs to win, but also I think needs Boogity to not do as well as he's doing. So Boogity keeping himself in this, I'm pretty sure he has his destiny in his hands here. But yeah, they're making their way down the mountain. We're seeing a plane take off in the distance. I feel like it's probably hot. Just a guess. I would guess that it's warm.
What tipped you off, Alex? Was it the desert?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking, really. I mean, we're in Dubai, desert climate. You know, that sun is probably hot in this area. That's just my guess here, guys. Looks quite warm, which is...
Got good air conditioning probably in those Hondas, though. Keep themselves nice and cool.
Well, I was thinking about it because this... I mean, I'd almost want to take a bike ride on this track, right? But then
Yeah?
you think about how
Wow,
hot it
brave.
is, and it's like, no, that's impossible. But you can drive a car.
There's a cycle race on the real Jebel Hafit mountain pass every
Wow.
year.
They must do it in the middle of the
these
night then.
athletes go up and down it. Yeah, you would hope, right?
Yeah.
It's for me, yeah. There aren't enough leg days in the week to make that happen for me.
You wonder what adjustments have to be made in the real world scenario on a hot day, the tires touching that hot asphalt. If your car is like sticking to the road more because of that, what that does to traction.
I love how close these guys are. By the way, we're having a little skirmish. Now, Ali, from a competitive standpoint, I've talked to Raceboy about this a little bit. It's kind of a touchy subject with him. You know, physical altercations on the road, right? Little
Right,
tappy
right,
taps
right.
from others.
Yeah.
How is that kind of seen from a competitive standpoint? You know, you want to be respectful of others, but you're also trying to win. So can you kind of talk about that a little bit in regards to, you know, typically in these races,
Yeah.
there's like an agreement of sorts not to really mess each other up that much, especially if you're able to hit each other.
Well, motorsport isn't consistent about how it looks at that from different, there's lots of different types of motorsport. There's destruction derbies out there,
Yeah.
and there's races with cars that are made of tiny filaments of carbon fiber that will explode
Right.
if they even come within a meter of each other. The trick is to go as far as you can go within the genre of racing that you're in. You know, what we're looking at right here is sort of tin tops. They're almost like touring cars, and you can really get your elbows out with these kinds of cars. They're solid, they're strong, and they're made to have a little bit of knocking and keep running. As Westdock gets a little wide, they might have the cutback on Boogity on the corner exit. Look at that. Beautiful line. So these cars can take it a little bit. I'll also say I've watched through many different competitions of this type, and the aggression tends to go up from race to race to race to race. So round 1, everyone's a gentleman in round 1. But by round 4, where we are right now, you start to see the elbows come out. You start to see people leaning on each other a little more because everyone wants to win, and that's natural, and that's part of racing.
And there are competitive considerations, though, right? There are rulings, there are penalties, and I guess if you're looking into competitive Forza from here in the future, that is something that the drivers have to deal with. But I love this race that's unfolding here between Boogedy and Wes. I mean, look at this. They're working on climbing this mountain here. It's kind of fun how we can notice that. You know, obviously you're going a little slower going uphill, but maybe in theory there are more ways to pass versus going downhill. You're going a lot faster. Maybe it's a little bit harder to pass. So maybe that's kind of fun to see the battle here between Boogedy and Westdog as they're probably ignoring the confetti. They're focusing on this race.
I love this battle that we've seen between them, and you're quite right. You know, if things go too far in racing, you'll get a penalty. Forza has a Forza race regulations system called FRR, which will look at your driving and compute all through the magic of AI, work out who was at fault and whether things were across the line, and give a penalty out, which will be added as time at the end of your race if you do go too far. For events like this as well, we might have manual adjudication, so we might have an adjudication team sitting at the back and looking at things and saying, all right, maybe we need to add some time here, take some time away here, and make everything fair. So within the competitive context at that top level, yeah, we have loads of different systems in place to make sure that things don't go too far.
I love it. So it's part of the game, but it's a you know, there's a line there where you don't want to overdo it when it comes to altercations with other drivers on the track.
Still be reckless.
Right. And right now we're seeing lap 3 out of 5 coming to an end, and it's still a close race here between our top 2 competitors, Boogedy and Westdog, both entering their 4th lap. Currently Boogedy in the lead, and now they're about to go back up the mountain here. Let's see if Westdog can close this gap. But Boogedy trying to leave no doubts about it. He has been victorious in each of our first 3 races thus far.
It's a little bit like cycle racing, isn't it? Where you have, you know, one person taking a turn to go in front, another person taking a turn to go in front, and both of them challenging each other, being like, okay, I can follow you. Can you follow me? You kind of do a switch around. You let somebody else go and see how the rhythm works out of the race. You know, when Westdog was leading, I think Boogedy had his number, could keep up with Westdog. And now that Boogedy's in front, the question remains, can Westdog keep that gap small enough and put a move back on him when he gets the opportunity? We'll see. We've got another lap and a half to go to work out how this is going to end.
Yeah, the focus for Boogedy, putting as much space as possible in between himself and the driver that is just behind him. You want to go as fast as you can. Probably the most technical turn of this lap, maybe at the very end once you're at the top of the mountain. But then once you're coming down here, you don't want to leave any time behind. So you also don't want to accidentally, you know, careen off to the left. So you got to be careful. You can't be too crazy coming down this hill. But this is intense here. I mean, there's only 1 lap to go after this, and Boogedy is just barely in front of Westdog. So how do you kind of approach this? Let's say, Allie, let's say you're in the shoes or you're on comms, you're the coach here for both these players. How do you kind of approach them both sides? What do you say to Boogedy and what do you say to Westdog?
I think for somebody in Boogedy's position, it's a good position to be in. It's just about always having that mind game where it's like, imagine the race has just started here and you're starting with an advantage. You know, always give yourself that mental reset and don't carry the weight of the whole race with you as you go along. The race starts here, you just have a head start. In someone like Westdog's situation, now is when you're going to have to push, and you're going to have to see how fast you can really go around this track. It's time to take risks as well. Last lap of the race. You know, I would say it's not time to be consistent anymore. It's time to see exactly what the ragged limit looks like for Westdog, and I think we're starting to see it. And it could be fast, it could lose a little bit of time, but it's going to keep him in that shout.
He's trying. I think he came to a little bit of a stop there, trying to go really fast. I think he was hearing you somehow, man, because he was inspired trying to go across that first turn there. But
you've got to roll the dice, hey? And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It was a very spirited run we've seen from Westdog throughout this whole competition. Has kept Boogedy honest. But yeah, it may be slipping out of grasp now as we get into the final lap.
All right, we're seeing Boogedy get to the top of the mountain here on this Dubai track, Dubai mountain circuit. He's going to go past this confetti, going to take this turn as fast as he can, and then it's time to go back down. He knows that West Dog is behind him, so he's going to be moderately happy about his position right now. Let's make sure to keep it under control. A crash would be a disaster. He does not want to crash, so he's going to want to play this relatively safe. Keep those 4 wheels on the road and coast down the mountain to victory as we see the Dubai skyline in the background.
Keep in mind, this is the Civic Type R, based on the 10th generation of Honda Civics. This is a very new car in a lot of ways, carries a lot of weight of safety devices on it. It's not like the Honda Civics of the 90s, which didn't weigh anything. This one is heavy. So going up and down hills, it makes a big difference to how this car handles. It's going to get momentum up as it rolls down a hill. It's going to lose momentum as it goes up one. But Boogity doing a great job there, keeping this thing neat and tidy as it comes through the last bend.
I'm sure Boogity is just so hyped right now. He's about to do a kind of a spin out, and then he might jump on his car. We'll have our cameraman ready for that. Because here he goes. He's going to cross that line, and Joshua, he's getting a lot of goodies here. He's getting a car racing sweet pass, meet and greet with the Toyota professional driver, and travel expenses, and he's in the celebrity showcase. I think Boogity just locked it up.
I think Boogity locked it in. Congratulations, West Dog following right behind. There was a number of times where West Dog tried to overtake, and we'll talk about that as soon as the race concludes, but just Boogity knowing when to slow down around these turns. Mullah Man's like, yep, it's over. Lap 3.
Wants to party where the confetti.
He's going to the after party.
And also,
first.
You're at the top of the mountain. You probably got the best views up there, so that might be where I kind of hop out.
I don't mind. I don't mind being. I'll join over the party right now. We'll wait for these players to get across that lap. But looking at this course, 5 laps, you think, okay, we did 11, shorter race, we got this. There's that one hairpin turn. But really the speed of going downhill adds such a factor. But the element that I wanted to talk about was West Dog overtaking Boogity a number of times, but you could see Boogity was going slower, and I could almost imagine myself being in West Dog's shoes going, I'm overtaking him, I got this. But then you're looking in front of you going, oh, there's a turn. And Boogity's just able to weave out of the way, and there was a number of times that West Dog overcommitted to the overtake, and Boogity was able to get out in front. That's going to be very, very frustrating, though, because there's a number of times where like, I'm winning, and then you realize I'm flying into a wall.
Isn't that the beauty of the balance between, getting around the track as fast as you can, or I should say trying to win, but also respecting the track? Sure, you're on a straightaway. Sure, you might be about to overtake someone, but wait, there might be a turn just there. So you have to kind of manage that. You're like, wait, I shouldn't be going this fast. Maybe I should slow down a little, turn, and then try to make this pass happen. So I like that you mentioned that. Just all these different dynamics that these drivers have to manage when making their way around these pretty complicated tracks.
I love that battle. It was so it was such a sort of game of chess, a kind of almost a dance you see in the end, where one car is being placed in a way that is going to necessitate the other car to go down the inside and take that risk of running too wide. And you dive in underneath again, sacrifice and take back. It's great to watch two people who really know how those cars work and what they're going to do, just sort of have that interaction, that fight around a circuit. It was great to watch. And
do you have that focus, in the driver's seat, be it a controller or a setup or actually in the car, to kind of have maybe an 80-20 split of focus on what's behind you compared to what's in front of you? Like, do you have to make that adjustment to play more defensively to make sure nobody overtakes you? Or do you just maintain your focus on what's happening in front of you? And if somebody starts to overtake, just, all right, if they're going to have it, let them have it, and then you find your window a little bit later. Because it seems that you can get kind of lost in the forward drive of knowing what's in front of you if you keep worrying about who's going to try to overtake you, on some of these straightaways or these corners.
Yeah, driving from your mirrors is a real tough thing. It's part of that sort of, it's one of those things you have to kind of teach yourself not to do, I would say. Enzo Ferrari would just say that you just focus on what's in front of you. Everything else is history. Let it go. Never look backwards, drive as fast as you can. And I think that's definitely how the best in the world do it. But for me, I can't. My brain doesn't work that way. I look back, I get worried. I'm looking around everywhere, and I think that's natural too. You got to fight it, and you got to learn not to.
Yeah, definitely got to fight. But one principle that I kind of think about too is skating in a skating rink. And I know they're like, "What are you talking about?" If you're worried about people passing behind you, you're going to crash. You're going to crash into people. You're not going to focus. You have to focus on just going straight and what's in front of you. So it's that type of principle, I think, with momentum and racing that can help people remove the thought obstacles of, like, if you're thinking about everything on the track, you're not thinking about how to really get the best time or how to really, find the acceleration that you need when you get out of this turn. And in essence, you're really fighting against yourself. Or trying to better yourself. So it's really fascinating too, of like some of the principles we have of going into traffic and being like, I got to focus what's in front of you, but I still got to check my mirrors if I'm merging and stuff, So it's it's fun to see. Not a whole lot of merging happening. It's more of overtaking in Forza.
Yeah, and I almost think too, you always have that foundation of, yourself practicing whatever track you're on. If you're trying to be a pro, you have so many hours racing these tracks. You're very familiar with it. I almost see it like DDR, where you have your arrows and you're trying to get the perfect combo with your arrows, right?
Yes.
That's what you're trying to do in a racing game. You're trying to hit your perfect combos around all these turns to get the best time possible, which I think is really cool.
Well,
and that's what these players.
One of the interesting things about racing games as an esport is I think they're one of the only games where like a fast monitor, so a monitor with really fast frames, won't make that much of a difference, because they're all about rhythm. Like you say, you learn the rhythm with your own equipment and you just repeat and you kind of zen into it and keep going around. And so having super fast frames on your monitor, having one with low latency, things like that, it's not going to make that much of a difference if you're at that level. So it's one of the few places in esports where you can really succeed with some pretty straightforward equipment.
All right, the math has been done. We did it, and we have our final standings for Group A. Congratulations to Chris Santacroce. I hope we're going to get clarification on how to say your name. Apologies if I said it incorrectly. But Chris is going to be our winner of Group A. 80 points, close behind the Wesley Garber. Huge shout out to him. So close. He got second place every time. So 8 points just behind Chris, followed by Dustin and Steven going along down the line. So congrats to all of our competitors here today. This is a ton of fun watching Group A. We do have another group incoming shortly, but Chris is going to be our winner. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, we'll try to get an interview with our winner set up here in just a sec. But again, the decision-making from Chris, from Boogity, there on the tracks, every single track, first place every single time, but 8-point difference between him and Wes. So I'd love to pick Chris's brain here when we get him in the interview to ask what was it like to see Wes overtake you in a couple of these laps, and if you started to get nervous. Because those nerves, I don't think, really played a factor later on when Boogity was just really looking good and making a lot of those tight turns and solid decision-making. I mean, kind of looking back at the VOD when we posted here, people want to go back and clip it, you can just see how close it was between the two. And as you said, Ali, it's like a dance. Because, you're trying to go your maximum speed while you're not crashing into each other, and it's so close. I mean, that's why people have, made a sport out of watching it. So I believe we have Chris standing by. Congratulations to our winner for our first group. Chris, how you doing?
You got me?
We got you. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I had to set up the main computer for that.
Oh, all good. Well, you're on the main computer. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and where you're playing from?
We're from New York. Wait. Like what kind of details question?
Anything you would like to share, Chris? Like if you're playing from New York, are you?
Yeah, we're playing from New York, and I chose to go on the console today, even if I could go on PC.
Oh, all good. Happy to have you on
because
console.
I want more fair playing field, because PC has advantages completely.
Gotcha. Well, how long have you been playing Forza? Because obviously you did very, very well, and is it one of your favorite to play?
I play a lot of racing games. I play a lot of all kinds of games. So I play almost every little kind of genre that you can get into.
Are you involved?
Of course.
Go ahead.
In Forza, I want to say at least 5 years, because I play with my one friend.
OG.
Nightly.
And
he's one of my friends.
Do you have a group of friends, and can you tell us more about any activities or groups that you're involved in around there, be it either physically or online?
Like with Special Olympics in general?
Sure.
Yeah, we're part of Northeast Rec. That is a Special Olympics organization over here that's like some of them I known since high school, so I just followed along and stayed with them.
He's so good at Forza. I was going to ask him, do you have any tips for people that play? Because I think I could use some tips from you in order to get better at Forza and racing games.
Yeah, it's just get used to it's knowing where the breaking points. I was playing all week. I figured out where all the breaking points was once they put out what tracks we were doing. I figured out where all the breaking points and everything was.
I want to ask you also, you know, you won every race here. So how do you feel? And did you expect that to just come out?
No, I did not.
So how does it feel? How does it feel to get the job done today?
Good, because I've been practicing it, but I wasn't expecting, or I thought it would be closer.
Were you feeling a little nervous about Wes? We noticed that you had some close moments there in a couple.
Yeah, I didn't want to knock him, so sometimes I would just let off. So it's makes them feel better because they noticed sometimes he would just come and swipe.
Well,
over to the left.
I will say that sounds like incredible sportsmanship to me. So kudos to you for doing that, and congrats once again on winning. Is there anyone you want to thank or any shout outs you want to give?
My brother John and my one friend from where I used to work, Nicole. I forget her last name.
That's okay. We can just go with Nicole. Shout out to Nicole.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, now that you're headed to the Celebrity Showcase, do you think you will continue your winning ways?
I'll give it my all.
Right on.
That's what we love to hear.
Yeah, that's the best you can do. And you gave it your all today. Congratulations on winning. I mean, seriously, looking really, really good. You know, Allie, while we have Chris here for one final question, was there anything you'd like to say, Allie, as our gameplay expert, in regards to Chris's performance today?
I loved it. I thought it's such a great performance seeing you out there driving. I think those tips that you gave were really good. I wanted to ask about driving next to other drivers and having those close battles. Is that something that you practiced ahead of this as well, or is that something that you were?
I done it with my one friend. A friend. He helps out with like a lot of us. He has helped me out with a lot, Jeremy.
Very cool. Well, it was really impressive. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's good to have those friends that can help you get better and better, you know, get better at those games.
Because he's good with racing stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I know to always reach out to certain people for everything.
Gotcha. Well, Chris, again, congratulations on winning, and we will see you this Saturday.
Yep. Okay.
Sweet. See you, Chris. Congrats. Yep. Chris is done. We do have two groups racing today. Chris got the early shift, came in, played some Forza for a couple hours, got his rewards, got his prize, and he's done. So just a awesome day for him, I'm sure. But we have more Forza racing coming your way, so stay tuned. We have our next grouping of drivers, and of course, all competing for the prizes that we're giving away. You're watching our coverage of the Special Olympics event here for inclusion in gaming. Once again, a collaboration of Special Olympics, Microsoft, and Xbox. We're going to take a short break here, and we're going to be back with more races. So stay tuned.
When I play, I can do amazing things. I can run, I can jump, and I'm still learning to do more.
Special Olympics young athletes helped young children around the world discover their abilities and develop their strengths through the power of sport and play. Young Athletes introduces basic sports skills like kicking and throwing through fun activities to children with and without intellectual disabilities, ages 2 to 7. Children of all ability levels participate, and they all benefit. They develop important motor skills, grow stronger, build confidence at every milestone, and learn to interact and communicate with others. Families share in the fun and learn to support their child's development. And everyone learns acceptance and friendship. With activities in more than 125 countries, Young Athletes reaches children around the world. giving families, communities, and schools the tools to create inclusive environments and help children of all abilities unlock their potential and envision brighter hopes for the future.
I love to play. It makes me happy to play with friends, and it helps me be the best I can be. So come on, let's play together.
Hi, I'm Christopher Bell, the number 20 Toyota NASCAR driver for the Joe Gibbs Racing Team. I want to give a shout out to all of the athletes and unified partners participating in the 2021 Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event. And a thank you to everyone who is tuning in and to cheer them on. Your participation in this virtual opportunity proves the power of sport and the power of inclusion remains strong and can be shared together even if we aren't physically together. And what an exciting way to connect through a mutual love and appreciation for esports. Tune in to watch the Xbox Twitch channel on September 18th.
Unified track makes me feel special because some people see me and they're like, oh my God, that kid is so fast. He looks like a great runner.
When I tried unified sports, I actually managed to make friends, and that feeling is more important to me than regular track.
Unified sports makes everybody be able to better their best.
Welcome to Inclusion Weekly, a show about how schools and students are working with Special Olympics to push for equal rights and opportunities for students with intellectual disabilities. Today, we're looking at the important role of unified sports. Unified Sports is a program where sports teams have a combination of people with and without intellectual disabilities, putting them on an equal playing field. It allows students who might typically be excluded to represent their school and be cheered on by their peers. Do you feel included on the Unified Track team?
Of course I feel included because they find me really smart and kind, honest, and I kind of like give them a little boost whenever they're like falling behind.
I do feel included, and I've always liked Unified very much.
I quickly learned how great of a personality everyone's had there, and it led me to realize that I could also be having a great experience by joining Unified Sports.
People in Unified Sports are less likely to experience bullying, and they have a more positive outlook on life.
I have been teased a lot since elementary school, and that like hurts my feelings. Unified Track really did help me a lot. I can hear people cheering for me, and it helps me not think about all the times I had in the past.
To watch the students in both classrooms come together and work together, and it just makes you feel good that we have this opportunity to have these programs here at the high school.
Unified Sports has taught me that anyone can do anything, no matter if you have an intellectual disability or not. If you are interested in Unified Sports, contact your local Special Olympics program and talk to your athletic directors and coaches to see if they can help you start a unified program at your school. It just takes one person to get things moving.
I saw the light flicker across the wall. Memories, but it seems so far. I was blind to I was lost last
life gets hard, will you run from it or will you stay and try to overcome it?
Just don't be afraid of the future. Go out into the unknown and try.
Nobody should have to feel like they're not wanted for something that they can't control.
It's like I am embracing my inner self.
It's about building something that you're going to eventually look back on and be proud of.
These are bonds that can never be broken. I'm never going to forget these moments. It's a beautiful thing.
Special Olympics has changed my life so dramatically.
I truly realize that what I'm doing is for a great cause.
It's helped me a lot to be fearless, you know, in the real world.
My friends I've made through Special Olympics are the best people I've ever met in my life.
I've made a difference. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
We are champions together.
Making a difference every day.
From our team to yours.
On behalf of everyone from Toyota, we encourage you to start your impossible.
fun part!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the Microsoft campus in Redmond. We're doing more video games as usual. I'm Axel Toss, joined by Mr. Joshua Gray.
Woo! Ready.
And we are continuing with our Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event featuring Forza. Awesome racing game.
Absolutely.
We just had a pretty fun competition to start things off, to have our first player qualify for our prizing and, of course, our celebrity showcase happening soon. And now our objective is to find our second player to join. So we're going to have another flight of races incoming. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We also have Ali Tack on standby, helping us out here today. Ali, you having a good day today so far?
This has been great so far. We've seen some great racing. Group number 1, group number 2. The cars only get faster, the tracks get harder. So I'm all ready for it. I want to see what happens.
Let's take a look at Group 2. We got to showcase them here at the top of the show, but you know, Boogity was the #1 player that we saw that will be joining us Saturday. Here are the players that are participating in Group B: Colton Rice, Mike Prebeck, Christopher Davidson, Julius Levesque, Austin Henry, JJ Slatone, Scott Chirac, which is one of my favorite names out there, Bill Carahare, Thomas Stipe, Dustin Wessels, and Nick Bizcats. Now, the choice of cars is going to be the same for everybody. We're starting off with that 2019 Porsche 911 GT3. So I look forward to see how the behavior of this car is going to be amongst these players. Indianapolis Motor Speedway Grand Prix Circuit will be the first track that we're showcasing. And the second time we're going to see this car on the next track will be Road America Full Circuit. Our third race will feature the 2017 Toyota number 18 on the Joe Gibbs Racing M&M's Camry. Watkins Glen Full Circuit will be the track. And same car, 2017 Toyota number 18. Sebring International Raceway Full Circuit will be the final race that we're going to show.
So, Mr. Ali Tack, here we go. A couple new cars, a few new tracks. What do you want to share about what we have incoming?
Yeah, well, we are just underway here at Indianapolis, and you can see that. The car that we're running here is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. The thing that's really interesting about this car, as we will head through turn one, is that it's one of the last 911s to feature a true rear engine behind that rear axle. Classic part of the build of a 911, a very uncommon place to put an engine in the rear in that manner, and it makes the car's weight distribution very strange. 40 39% of the car's weight, that's all, is toward the front of the car. The majority is at the rear. And it means it drives a little bit like a, you know, those construction cars that have the steering at the back, and they kind of swing around and pick up different crates and things inside of warehouses. It drives a little bit like that. The car is very, very pendulous in the mid-corner, and so it swings around. Something to watch out for in this race.
A forklift is what we like to call those. And yes, pendulous is the word, and it is something you have to get used to, which is why I have been trained in driving a forklift, and I am licensed. And yeah, you got to watch out.
Wow. That's amazing. Are there forklift races that you can join?
Yes.
I mean, that's where my main goes immediately.
Yeah, and you usually drive backwards when you're racing in those things because you don't want those forks going forwards. But I love that you brought up that example, Ali, because it really is a different mindset you have to be in on where the car is actually turning, and that can make such a difference, you know, especially at these speeds.
And oh yeah, go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say is that it's a very sort of classic characteristic of a road car. So the two cars we saw previously very much have the weight toward the front, and it means the front wheels will slide first before the rear wheels. It's safer. The car's going to go in a straight line rather than start spinning. With a Porsche, with a sports car like this, we're looking at a very advanced car, if you like. And if you get it wrong in this car, it's going to start going around in circles rather than just sliding neatly off the track. That's the big worry. That's what you have to keep in mind while you're pushing this to its limit.
Yeah, it makes me think of you know, more drifting techniques. If you have more weight in the back of your car, maybe you have more of a control over those sweeping turns. If you're trying to drift, you know, using the back of your car's weight to carry you through the turns while drifting. Something like that.
Like the end of the Italian Job when all those minis have the gold in the back of them, you know? And then they're skidding around, trying to get around the place, and the rears of them just slide around. You can see in that movie exactly how that works. That's completely true. Makes the car, in the game we call it, or in the community we call it rotating. The car rotates in the corner. And that just means that the body of the car starts to come around in a way that allows you to get on the power earlier and squirt out the corner a bit faster. It's a great feeling when these cars really latch in. And this GT3 RS, so much downforce, so much cornering ability. It's such a great car to feel when you're driving.
Yeah, I feel like there's a delicate balance there between you having it as a utility on these technical turns and using that, you know, to help with your drifting or help get across those turns quickly. But it's also a lot to manage. I mean, it's a powerful car. So that's something that could, you know, that could get out of control pretty quickly if you're not managing it properly. Something like with great power comes great responsibility with some of these cars.
With a 4-liter flat six comes great responsibility completely. It's a beast.
So speaking towards the track too, I mean, I'm kind of loving it. I feel like this is in our IRL track. This doesn't seem fictional to me, right? Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Just looking at the map here, a couple of things that stand out to me. Kind of a jarring difference between one half of this track and the other half. You'd almost expect it to be a normal oval, you know, but then someone had to go and scribble and mess things up, right? It's not a normal oval. You have part of it that seems like a really big straightaway on kind of the backside coming to the finish line, and that big straightaway also goes into your start line. But then,
that's right,
Mr. Ali Tack, I'm looking at the left side of this track, and that's where the child scribbling comes into mind. What happened with this track? It's not a clean oval, and it seems like there's quite a few technical turns in the front half.
Yeah, so this track is what happens when, so you take the setting of the Indy 500. It's a big oval. Actually, it's a quad oval, so you have 4 corners in it as an oval, and then you decide that you want to run Formula One around it. The result is that the cars run through the infield of the track, and you get what's called these days a roval, like a road track oval. And the inside of the circuit is like you said, a bit of a scribble. It's an interesting track. These kind of tracks are very much sort of the characteristic of them is that they're very flat, because you have this huge, almost like an amphitheater. It's an enormous banked area around the outside, and then in the middle of it, it's just a big flat field where they put all the racing corners. And so it ends up being very sort of all about finesse, all about getting your lines right, because really the undulations aren't going to throw you off so much. Indianapolis, though, classic circuit. Way back when this whole thing was paved in brick, millions and millions of bricks individually laid around a huge oval. and these days just 1 yard of bricks remains at the start-finish line, and that's why it's called the Brickyard, kind of. Something like that.
There you go. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Right now, by the way, keeping an update on the race, we have Rice Family CO. We're 4 laps out of 7. I'm assuming capital CO means Colorado, unless they're a chief executive or something, which they could be. But my guess is...
You're absolutely right. Colorado.
My guess would be a Colorado reference there. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Colton Rice. This is the winner of last year's Forza competition with Special Olympics. He won with 2 race wins last year. He's an incredible driver. It says his favorite song is "Shut Up and Drive" by Rihanna. That's my factoid.
Nice.
For Colton Rice. He's a cool guy and shares some different recipes on YouTube for overnight oats. And a very, very fast driver on Forza. We can expect to see him racing pretty hard over the next 4 races, trying to get his way to the top.
Overnight oats. Consider me sold. That's one of my favorite carbs to have in the morning. I better check it out.
So the closest driver to him who's trying to chase him down is MP Racing 24. And honestly, he's not too far away. He's going to be going around, I suppose it would be turn 2 and then this gradual turn 3 here on Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But... you said it's Colton Rice? Colton?
Colton Rice,
yeah. Colton right now.
By...
Yeah, he's leading the way here.
Yeah.
But don't want to be too confident. Don't want to be too feeling safe because second place is not too far behind, I don't think. And you know how Forza is.
One of the things,
racing games, if you crash, everything can change very quickly.
It can. It really can switch around. One of the things I wanted to notice about Colton Rice is he makes his own liveries for the cars. So you can see that he's painted his car with an American flag on the roof, and he's got Colton written on the side of it, and some different decals around the place. So there's a little bit of creativity there and a little bit of forward planning going in, not just in terms of practicing the track, but also in terms of painting his car to look the business while he's out there and getting his results in.
Oh, it's looking good.
Our professional observer is getting some shots of that. Great job, whoever's controlling the camera on the left. That's me.
Yes. Great job, Axel Thomas. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, taking a look at this car, that is pretty cool. He's got that American flag. He's got Colton on the side. Trying to cruise to victory here, looking good in map number 1, or race number 1, I should say, here on Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It looks like there are no... there's no way to physically have altercations with other drivers here. It looks like just ghosts around. So that is a variable that is nice, I'm sure, to not have to worry about. Just making sure you have a clean drive. You don't have to worry about anyone kind of messing you up. And again, in second place here, we have the next closest driver, RTP, I believe his name is. And MP Racing 24 here in second place, trying to chase him down.
That's right.
And let me do a quick look at third place. See how far behind he is. Okay, he's not too far behind either, but it looks like there is a decent amount of distance between these drivers. And I feel like, Ali, the best on this track here is the best way to kind of make up time. Obviously going to be the left quadrant here where you're going through the middle. Obviously not on the straightaway because everyone's going to be able to drive fast. Isn't the art here just trying to see how fast you can go through more of the technical turns to try to bring the race back a little bit?
I think you're right that with the Porsche 911, with the GT3 RS especially, there's so much downforce that really everyone can go the same speed around the oval section. It's quite easy to be flat out there. Easy is, easy for these kind of drivers, for fast drivers. The infield is where you're going to find all of that time, when you're going to be able to sort of finesse the car a little bit and squeeze a little bit more out of the track. It's all about judging your braking and being very, very smooth with your inputs. I find, especially on this circuit, one of the things that I struggle with is actually not smoothness putting the brake on, but smoothness taking the brake pedal off. When you're coming into the mid-corner, if you just jab the brake pedal off, you just release it, then suddenly there's a shock wave that goes through the whole car. We were talking earlier about how the car is all on springs. There's one on each wheel, and the whole thing bounces along the second you do that. So you don't want to send those reverberations through your springs. You want to be smooth with your inputs, both on and off, and that's one of the tricks around Indianapolis. Smooth brake release.
All right, final lap here. Colton is probably feeling pretty good. Maybe checking the rearview mirrors very casually. Probably's got one hand up. Maybe got some coffee on standby.
10 and 2 all the time.
He's cruising, isn't he?
10 and 2,
Is there a sense, though, trying to beat your personal best in races like this, too? Let's say you're out in front, but you're still, is there still an element of, maybe trying to beat your best race or trying to set a PR with your lap time? Just stay warmed up effectively?
Yeah, there's no turning it off. Some drivers just go and go. You can see with Colton, as he crosses the line there, that it's just all about pushing all the time. And I think that's just what keeps him consistent and what keeps him fast. What a great driver.
Yep, getting first place. Once again, we're going to have 4 races in this group. There's flight scoring depending on how well you do in each race. So Colton Rice, he's going to accumulate the maximum amount of points possible in race 1 by getting first place. We're looking at second place here. MP Racing 24 just going to the finish line now. That's just seems like such a nice straightaway there. I mean, look at this alley from the top. I feel like from the very top of the track, all the way down to the bottom left. Do you think you can almost go full speed that whole turn? I mean, the turns are gradual enough where you're not really having to slow down, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, especially because it's banked as well, so the car squishes into the road and pushes down into itself. Yeah, MP Racing there, Mike Prebeck. He's a 3-time gold medalist at the State Summer Games and named Male Athlete of the Year in 2013. He's no stranger to success.
Awesome.
And doing a great job. Second place in the first round. We saw him do well last year as well in the Forza competition, so somebody else who's coming back for a second bite at the apple. And yeah, a great result. Second place in the first race is going to tee him up nicely for the next 3 upcoming.
Yes, and there we see a Maya Moth crossing the finish line in 3rd place, as all of our drivers are making their way across the finish line here eventually in the final lap, 7 laps here in Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But Colton stealing the show here. Colton Rice, his handle being Rice Family CEO there, winning by about 45 seconds. So really nicely done to be able to pull that off. I mean, there is a factor of having your favorite tracks, right, Ali? Maybe you're better on this track, or maybe you're not so great on that track. Do you think that's an element that...
For sure. Everyone's got their favorites. And I think Colton looked so good there that in a way, it's got to be one of his favorites. If it wasn't before, it is now, right? He's just won the race in this big competition around that circuit. But, it's about tracks where you feel comfortable and ones where you can get into your rhythm easily and just enjoy yourself driving. If you start second guessing yourself, if you start looking in that rear view mirror rather than looking forwards, then you're in trouble. So it's the tracks where you get the rhythm, where you feel good.
I see we have Nemesiah joining us in the game. They were chiming in during our Rocket League matchup, so great to see people either participating or spectating in today's event. Huge shout out and thank you to the Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion. We're showcasing these players and working with the Special Olympics, and we want to say thank you to Microsoft Xbox and the Special Olympics for collaborating to making this event possible. And if you missed some of the action, make sure to check out the VODs right here on twitch.tv/Xbox, and be sure to check out youtube.com/Special Olympics. And, as we move into this second lap series, we have, I believe, 5 laps for this next one.
Road America full circuit. Now, this is where the storyline starts to develop. We saw who was out in first. We saw a beautiful performance, on our top players here, and let's say top 3, top 4. But anything can happen for these players to make it to top 3, top 4. Even those that maybe lag behind can perform better here. So the initial points, definitely a huge factor, but don't really spell what the fate will be for all of these players.
And that's what's so fun, and kind of like what I was saying just before there, where you're going to have your favorites. You're going to have the tracks you don't like. I'm sure in the competitive scene, there's an element of vetoes at the top level where players are deciding which tracks they want to run on. But that's what's fun being on the administrative side of things. You can kind of choose which tracks. It's kind of that's just a fun element there. It's like it doesn't matter your history, doesn't matter what has happened here. These are the tracks you're going to have to face, and you're going to have your favorites. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the test. Can you do well on all these tracks? We didn't just do one race on one track. No, we're doing 4. So here we go, from Indianapolis to Road America Full Circuit, followed by Watkins Glen and Sebring International. What are you expecting here, Ali, as we go into Road America? And any elaboration you can give on kind of maybe even your tracks, or what tracks that these drivers might favor versus others that maybe are a little
trickier, perhaps.
Yeah, well, I mean, from Indiana in round 1 to Wisconsin in round number 2. So that's from the speedway and the infield we were talking about before to a dedicated road racing circuit. Road America, once upon a time, was just a group of hooligans going from town to town on public roads. And eventually it got so popular that they decided to make a real racetrack there. And this is the result. It's a very different circuit to the one that we saw, first of all, not least because there's some elevation finally, but also because you're going to just see some corners and some areas of circuit that will put a car right on its limit and hold it there for a very long time. Now, we were talking about the oval there. The Porsche on the oval isn't really being challenged, right? It's just running along a bit of banking. It can be basically flat. Here in Road America, it's a little bit more like sort of the Rainbow Road, if you like, of Forza, where you're going to have a lot more undulation under the car. The car's going to want to get away from you a little bit more, and just keeping it on the road is going to be a battle of itself. So not just against the players, but against the environment. Yeah,
cool.
We may see some people prefer it. We may see some people not prefer it. Who knows how it's going to turn out.
And we are moments away from getting into our second race. We saw the standings there. Pretty easy to kind of follow along. We're not doing too complicated a math here. No imaginary numbers. Nothing too crazy. First place, you get 20. Second place, you get 18. Third place, you get 16. So 2-point differential as you go down the line. 4 races total. Definitely in the minds of these competitors, right? You kind of have to know where you stand. Right now, Colton Rice having a great time, got first place. His focus is going to be hold on to that. He's going to be aware of the drivers who are just behind him, so he's got to make sure to stay on top of it. So I expect him to be, at this point, based on what you've said, Ali, I expect him to be a pretty seasoned competitor. So I would expect Colton to be calm, collected, as we'll see what happens here. Second race is underway. 5 laps on Road America.
Road America.
Yeah, Wisconsin and up through the first turn. Colton Rice leads the way so far with Whack Boy just behind in second place. It's a very different circuit, and you can see already just how bumpy it is. Oh,
everybody
the grass on the outside. It's punishing here, yeah.
Road America, not, as you just said, there's not really, there's like 1 straightaway, maybe 2. But otherwise, there's a lot going on here. Quite a few turns you got to stay aware of. We see Colton going to that first turn there, making a pretty smooth turn. Wackaboy just behind him, going to try to imitate the smoothness of that. Oh, careening a little bit off to the side. There we see the back power, the back vehicle power and weight of the Porsche kind of pulling it over to the side. But honestly, pretty good management there from Wackaboy to stay on the road and keep on going. But for now, Colton, he's trying to leave everyone in his dust. And he's succeeding so far. So we'll see if he can keep that up. But a pretty close race right now between our drivers in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Wow, yeah. I think you're right. I think that was a decent save there that we saw earlier on with the Porsche. Big plumes of smoke coming out the back of it there as he gets a little bit drifty, a little bit wild. No kudos points here in this racing. No points for drifts. So you're going to have to... you have to just put that down for experience and try and move forward afterwards. We are seeing a lot of times that rear of the Porsche, even more here than in Indianapolis, sliding out and challenging the drivers to a little bit opposite a lot while they go through the corners.
I mean, it's not easy, right, Ali? Anyone new to Forza who might be expecting, okay, just hold acceleration down and you'll be fine. It's not easy. I mean, this game gets down to the nitty-gritty when it comes to the technicals and the mechanics and the nuances of racing around.
Well, I think we were saying it before, and it bears repeating. Forza Horizon and that kind of side of Forza, will give you an impression for how different cars feel. A heavier car will feel slightly heavier, have more momentum. A lighter car might be more nimble. But once you start getting into the motorsport side of the franchise, the simulation ramps up one more time again. And so you end up, really feeling all the dampening, the springs, the anti-roll bars of the car. It all adds up into this characteristic that the car will give you as it comes around the track. We saw in the first group some cars that were a little bit easier to handle, and those were maybe more beginner cars. This Porsche and the stock car that's going to come after it are more advanced, certainly, and are hard to handle. I wouldn't recommend these as starting off cars at all. And you can see these drivers are pretty experienced and they're on their edge, and that's cool.
Whack-a-boy spinning out right there. Come on, get it under control, man. There's a really intense battle there, Ali, between second and third. MP Racing and Whack-a-boy were going back and forth, but there's a moment where Whack-a-boy just lost control. He ended up spinning out, and now he's way back and fourth. So right now, it's actually a pretty close battle between second and third and fourth and fifth. Looking back at fourth place on the left screen there, that's Whack-a-boy. But just behind him, I'm going to go to fifth place here. Just behind him is SO Esports 3. You can see right there, he's got Whack-a-boy right in front of him. So it's always fun to keep an eye on these battles for fifth, fourth, and let me go up to, actually, I'm going to go up to third place here because there's a battle going on for second right now, and that's a battle between MP Racing. As you can see, oh no, he's going on a bit of grass. Keep those wheels on the concrete, but you can see right in front of him there, that's going to be second place. So gotta keep things under control here. Don't count yourself out. We see some drivers crashing here and there, but looking at this battle between second and third, it's pretty serious. Of course, Colton way out in front at this point, and as long as he doesn't make any huge mistakes, he's going to be just fine. But the battle for second getting pretty intense here.
I mean, it's like we were saying before. It's one of these races that you don't race the other drivers. You also race the track. Yeah, they say this about the 24 Hours of Le Mans. No one wins Le Mans. You survive Le Mans, and maybe you win. Maybe you're the first place then, but you survive. That's the main thing, and that's what's happening here. This track is fighting the drivers, and it's making them work to stay on the track. Interesting to see Whack-a-boy out there. That's Julius Levesque. Running pretty well in this race, having a fight, I think, for fourth right now. He's a horse riding expert, so somebody who's used to a little bit of horsepower, although I think the extra 513 in this Porsche might be surprising him.
513 times more than the one single horse. Let me tell you, just one horse can get a little bit crazy. Well done.
Kind of an interesting moment
angry
here.
German horses, too. So
really got a wrangle.
Yeah.
Looking here at MP Racing, currently in third place, going across the straightaway, crossing into lap number 4. If you look a little bit out in front of him, he's got another driver there within distance. So I'm really curious about this battle here, going around turn 1. Let's see how both these drivers handle this. MP Racing keeping it cool. Don't want to hit your brakes. Yeah. You want to leave your foot off the brake as much as you can because you want to go fast, but you also don't want to spin out. So those are the balances that the balance that these drivers are trying to find. But it looks like whoever's in second here, let me go over to, it's Maya Moth. It's actually holding her own here in second place, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Maya Moth doing a great job there. This is Thomas Stripe running in this car. He's a great driver as well. Last time out, we saw him. We saw this driver a year ago as well, and he had his own custom liveries. Not this time, so maybe with the stock car. Maybe later on today with the Toyota, we might see a custom livery come back. But
I think it's the Xbox green for a lot of these drivers.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Really cool seeing those customizations. But Maya Moth holding off third place very nicely. There's not really a crazy technical turn on this one, is there, Ali? I mean, I'm looking at this map and seeing these drivers kind of make their way around it. I don't feel like there's a turn that's really giving everyone trouble. It's just about taking these turns, maybe being a little more greedy and just taking them as fast as you can, because this is a more forgiving track, it seems.
Yeah, it's a track which doesn't have like one area, I wouldn't say, which completely jumps out at you as a really challenging space. At the same time, I think the whole track, and in this car, is at another level of challenging compared to what we've seen previously. That's why we're seeing a lot of drifting here, a lot of sliding around, all that tire smoke. That's all cars that are out of control. And I mean, I love it. It looks impressive. It looks cool, but it is not the fastest way around a corner. You know, in a sense, when you're racing driving, you want to always be driving in quite a boring way. You want to be smooth, have all 4 tires in a controlled motion across the track, rather than, you know, the front gripping and the rear sliding and the plume of smoke behind you, even though it looks awesome.
And we saw a car in the middle of the road there. This is ghost mode. Can't really mess with other drivers here, and that's probably for the best. Probably for the best. I'm taking a look at MP Racing here because Maya Moth just had an incident on turn, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, turn 8, I'll call it. Kind of the bottom left-hand side of the track there. Kind of a sharp turn. Maya Moth did end up crashing there, so this might be an opening here for MP Racing. Just 1 lap to go here. 2 laps to go. So they are just started lap 4. Then they're going to have lap 5, and then they'll be done. Colton way out in front. We're looking at 3rd place here on the left side of your screen, trying to track down our driver who's in 2nd. Not too far out there in front. So Maya Moth has to be pretty careful not to make any mistakes here because MP Racing.
I think Maya Moth did make a little one there as well. I think just a little slide off the track. The pressure is on.
Yeah, MP Racing is right there. Another straightaway here, and this might be one of the more technical turns. We're about to see 2nd and 3rd go. I believe this is turn 3 about. Let's see how this is handled by Maya Moth. Goes around it. Oh, the crash. Okay. That's an opening. Let's see MP Racing. Let's see how MP Racing can handle this. Going to the same turn here, slowing down, nice and easy around the bank. Okay, a little better.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like that's going to give him a couple seconds at least. I wonder if this is possible. Can we see MP Racing track down Maya Moth here? I think there's plenty of time. There's still 1 lap to go after this one.
Yeah, this battle's coming alive between these two. And it's the effective pressure that you're seeing there as well. Maya Moth up ahead will know and be looking backwards and know all about that car, closing up and getting closer and closer. And as a result, you end up making mistakes you wouldn't normally make, you wouldn't normally do. Just getting distracted, being overpressured. Another one.
No.
This could be it. This could be it. And there it is. There's the move around the carousel. Maya Moth reversing back onto the track. MP Racing up to 2nd.
Wow, what a move. I mean, that was just calm, collected. MP Racing. You know, Ali, I feel like if you're too far behind and you start thinking about it too much, it's not going to be good. I mean, from a mentality standpoint, you want to always consider yourself in it. And in a racing game where anything can happen, anyone can crash, anyone can spin out. You can make up 30 seconds, you can make up a minute. How important is that mentality? Just no matter what, stick after it. You never know what might happen.
You're so right, and it's essential. It's essential. Just having that sort of that attitude whenever you get into a car, whenever you get behind the wheel, that says, "I'm here to win, and I'm going to win this thing, and anything else is unnatural." That's where you have to start. You know, you have to begin at that point. When I go out and race, sometimes I'll see people behind me who I think are faster, or I outcycle myself. And the second you do that, you've lost, because you'll start just making 101 mistakes, and each mistake compounds the pressure, because that's how it works. And by the time you're around half a lap, you've lost 5 seconds on them and they're past you. And that's what we see here as well. Pressure is a huge thing in racing, and keeping your cool is so difficult.
We are on the final lap here. Looks like this is just a formality here for Colton. He is... Let's see how far exactly he is in front. He's about half a lap in front of 2nd place. So Colton, he's going to cruise on to victory here in map 2. Remember, there are 4 tracks total that we're going to be going through, but Colton Rice setting himself up beautifully here after these first 2 races. Meanwhile, what a story that has unfolded here in this race between 2nd and 3rd. Maya Moth was 2nd for most of the race. MP Racing is pretty far behind, but he stuck in it. And he stayed calm, collected, racing really well, honestly taking some really nice turns. And we saw MP Racing overtake Maya Moth, and now he's in 2nd place. He's a good amount of distance away in front of 3rd place, but as we know now, you know, it's never safe here. You always got to make sure you stay on top of it, because one crash can make you fall pretty far behind. So I think MP Racing might be able to pull off a 2nd place here. We just had Colton cross in 1st. And now we're going to see all our drivers finish up here in track 2.
Yeah, just looking at the track and the behavior of our different drivers, you know, as you said earlier, you're racing against the course, the track itself, and trying to survive it. when I look at the breakdown of this track, yeah, obviously a lot of turns, but I think one way to compartmentalize when to, overtake your opponent is to only focus on one turn and being, this is a turn where I'm going to focus on overtaking to see if I can. Every other turn, I'm only focused on me. I'm trying to make sure that I'm at my fastest time at every single one of these turns. At least for me, that seems to kind of help, that you're not so distracted or at least being overwhelmed by where you're placing. Just trying to race your best race, but then picking one of these challenge points to really challenge the other racers there. In some of your strategies, Allie, or at least depending on the track, do you try to compartmentalize that way? Just focus on you and the race until you reach one of these corners and try to overtake?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, there's areas in the track where every driver will prefer to overtake, but they'll know that they're decent and they have maybe an advantage as well. One of the things that can happen quite quickly if you're following another car closely is you kind of get hypnotized by them. It's the strangest thing. And you guys have to get out there and play some Forza and just experience it, because I think explaining it, I'll never do it justice. But if you drive behind another car for, say, 5-10 corners, suddenly you can't see anything apart from the bumper of the other car, and you're just staring at it, and you lose all your advantage, and you're going slower suddenly. And it just takes this kind of mental reset that you have to give yourself every now and again. Having a corner that you've put a flag in the ground and said, I'm fast around here, I know what I'm doing, can be so useful for that, because you can suddenly arrive at this location and you're like, okay, let's forget about the bumper, let's forget about staring forwards, and try and reset myself, and do that by throwing a move down here at a place where I know I'm confident and know I'm fast.
Yeah, I think it does help too, and I know what you mean by that memorization, or that mesmerization. When you're behind a car, you kind of just, it's almost like the flying V and the Mighty Ducks. You just start to get in your place and go with it, because you don't want to crash, and you're intaking the information that the driver in front of you is intaking as well. So it's almost like you're locked into a pattern at first, and you can stay locked in because you're trying to match the same time and then find your opening to go. And it is so difficult because it's very mesmerizing when you're just locked into place. You're like, oh, everything's safe. I'm in second place. I'm okay. Now you got to find that opportunity. But the person in front of you is, again, trying to race as fast as they can, and maybe they're slightly glancing over their shoulder once or twice and deciding, I'm going to go a little bit tighter on this turn, and maybe a slower time for me, but I know 100% I'm not going to be overtaken.
And there's also drafting, right? Allie, is that defined more or less in the game, where you are gaining an advantage by chilling right behind someone?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love the layers of complexity that we're adding here, and it's all there. It's all in the game. So drafting is when the car in front is moving the air forwards. Mm-hmm. So it's cutting a hole in the air, and if you drive behind it, then the air that you're moving in is already in a pocket that's moving forwards. So you can go a little faster. So yeah, you can tuck behind a car and get a small advantage by drafting. You see that a lot in these kinds of cars. You're going to see both drafting and what's called bump drafting, which is when one car parks in the vacuum created by the car in front, and that actually gives the car in front a boost, because it then doesn't have to tow that vacuum along behind it. So there's a lot of dynamics here. They're all in Forza, all very much modeled, and yeah, it just makes the driving more and more complex and interesting.
Love it. So many dynamics here. If you're new to Forza and you've not really embarked on this journey before, I hope you're feeling awesome, because there is so much that this game has to provide, so much to investigate. Very high skill ceiling, lots of replayability, so lots to check out and lots to master. Speaking of mastery, though, Colton Rice, he's having such a great day today. Colton is winning our first two races, 20 points for first place. So he's out in front with 2 races to go, halfway through our races in our Group B. Mike Prebeck not too far behind with 36, so still within reach. Also Thomas Stipe right there with 32. They have Julius Lavask with 26. Everyone kind of close up near the top. So still a lot of room to make a comeback happen. But based on what we've seen in the first 2 races, I think Colton Rice has set himself up really nicely, and I could see him going all the way here.
Yeah, possibly. You know, maybe the storyline will be between Colton and Chris, our winner from the first group, who would be the fastest driver on the road.
That would be Celebrity Showcase.
We're going to find that out this Saturday. Yeah, the Celebrity Showcase. So excited to see how this group's going to play out. But again, now that we're halfway through, we have 2 more races to go. It can go any way. Maybe somebody crashes and somebody from 3rd, 4th place can overtake and get the points they need in the next 2 races, and they could take first place. 2017 Toyota number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing M&M's Camry will be the vehicle of choice. Watkins Glen Full Circuit will be our next race, and our last race for this group will be the Sebring International Raceway Full Circuit. And a reminder, folks, the 2 winners will receive a Forza Motorsport 7. Winners will receive car racing suite passes, including a meet and greet with a Toyota professional driver and travel expenses, 2 packages valued up to $7,500. So, some good
That's amazing.
prizes in store.
That is amazing. And Allie, we are switching vehicles here. So you want to give us a rundown on what we're looking out for from the Porsche to the Toyota?
Yeah, the Toyota is a dedicated racing car. That's number 18. So when you get into this one, you're sliding into the butt indent left by Kyle Busch, who ran this car to some great success in 2017, came second in the championship, but did get a whole bunch of wins along its way. It's a racing car. It's got a tube frame chassis. It's light. It's got a massive engine. It's an American racing car, so 5.8 liters of displacement. There's no replacement for displacement. Yeehaw. And this thing has rear-wheel drive at a front engine. So it is, it's basically, I would say it has no aero and a whole lot of power and a lot of rubber. So it's this difference between mechanical grip and aerodynamic grip that you're going to see play out here. The car will get sketchy at high speeds, but pulling out of a corner or hanging onto a corner, it's actually going to do all right. It's a really fun car to drive, but also a bit of an animal with that engine. So we might see a few people leaving some rubber on the road and some dust in the air.
And of course, the track that we're going to be embarking on here, Watkins Glen full circuit, 6 laps. How do you classify this track? Have you been there? Got any factoids for us?
I would love to go to Watkins Glen. I've never been out in New York. It's a beautiful, beautiful track from everything I've seen. Partly paved with concrete and partly paved with asphalt. And you'll see a huge grip difference in those racing surfaces on Forza Motorsport. That actually changes the way that you make your lines around this track. Some apexes you're not going to want to hit, just because there's concrete there, and concrete is very slippery compared to asphalt. So these drivers are going to have a lot of experience to read the road, read where they want to place their cars in order to get the most possible out of them.
All right, let's see what happens here. What's really curious, Allie, to me, first of all these different tracks have such different characteristics. One thing here, the starting line is so close to a turn. Sometimes you see that. I feel like we see that at the Circuit of the Americas, I want to say, where it's like, you start, and then there's a turn. So how does that kind of change things? We just saw quite a few people kind of spin out there in the beginning.
I think, for one thing, it makes pole position more powerful. There's less of time to get alongside the leader on the grid before the first corner. So Colton Rice, who we're seeing in the top right, had a little bit of an easier time here, I think, in the run down towards turn 1, just because of how the track layout is put together. Some of the cars behind will have to squabble a little bit, will have to fight, and we're seeing that with Maya Moth on the top left of the screen. They'll have to have that fight, settle it out, and then try and chase down Colton later, who's had that early advantage.
Yeah, and this is the battle, the amazing battle that we saw last track, where Maya Moth had the lead most of the race, but then MP Racing was playing calm, collected, waited for Maya Moth to make a mistake, and then he was able to pass him up and get second place. So love this battle we're seeing for third and fourth. Colton Rice continuing with his winning ways. He's at least 40 car lengths in front of second at this point right now, but a serious battle here between Maya Moth on your screen and MP Racing, both trying to jockey for second place. Maybe the most technical part of this track here, I guess the second half, the last third, you might say. You got a few switchbacks, and then you got some big, a little hairpin there, and then a few more switchbacks almost coming to the finish line.
That bottom right section of the mini-map is actually, it's called the boot. It's an extension to the track that was added in the 80s, I think. And all the corners there are named after the different sort of parts of the anatomy of a boot. So there's the laces, and then there's the toe, and then there's the heel, and then you come back around towards the start finish. Yeah, so it's a nice little area of the track for commentators, because you can always you can always be like, oh, the laces of the shoe there or whatever.
That's what we need. We need ways to describe what we're seeing, and thank you for the nickname for that part. Yeah, the boot, easy to identify. I love it.
Loop it, swoop it, pull it. That's what I do with my laces.
There you go.
Wow, Maya Moth coming together with MP Racing. Turn 2 and 3. MP carries on. MP Racing continues. That's Michael Brebeck. Maya Moth is going to struggle to get back on the road. It does release MP Racing, though, to try and chase down our leader, Colton, who might have a little bit more trouble now.
Yeah. Anything you can do to to scare whoever's out in front. I can't first place see the time behind that second place is, and I guess that would equate to like some radio person telling you where you are on the track. So it's still similar to what you would experience IRL. Is that a dynamic here where you're kind of seeing how close second place is, and can that affect you? Like, let's say you cross one checkpoint and it's 15 seconds, but then you cross the next checkpoint and it's like 10 seconds. Are there elements there where you might freak out, or that you see that the comeback ability, the comebacks happen?
Well, that's the kind of frustration of it in the game, because you have, in the real world, you'll have your ship-to-shore radio, and you'll have someone sitting on the side, and they'll be like, "Oh, there's a car behind you," and they'll give you the gap. But if it's bad news, they might elect not to tell you because it might be better if you're driving. In game, you hear it all. You get the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if it's closing up, then you will see that information, and the beads of sweat will start appearing on your forehead. The shakes will come into your thumbs, because you'll know that the car behind is catching, and sometimes not slowly. Sometimes they can be catching rather rapidly. I think Colton here is looking pretty strong, though, at the moment. We're only halfway through the race, lap 3 of 6, but his consistency doesn't look changed yet by Thomas Stipe. I will say that's the mind game. Once you pass the point where one car is catching and the other isn't, then that effect tends to get more and more and more. And so we might not see it very much now, but in a lap or two, it could change very, very rapidly.
Looking at Maya Moth here, I want to stay on Maya Moth here, at least on the left side of the screen, because he got passed up here by MP Racing, but I feel like he's got some fire underneath him, so he's going to try to bring this back. So I'm looking out for Maya Moth to try to go for some cheeky moves around these turns, go a little bit faster, because you see not too far out in front there. That's our driver who's in second place, MP Racing. So
I'm totally glad you're on board with Maya Moth, because also he has an awesome livery on that car. How cool is that? I'm zooming. We're going to have a little zoom in on it, I think, because it just looks so great. Lots and lots of different stripes, lots of different decals on there as well. That's a dope looking car.
And I will say, you can't really notice it here, but he's got some crazy stuff going on with his actual driver. I don't know if you've seen it, but I don't know if I can get a look at it somehow with this view. But he's basically wearing like a jack-in-the-box, what I can only describe as like a jack-in-the-box face. It's actually pretty creepy. I can't quite see it here, but you do have the ability to do a lot of crazy custom things with your car, with your driver. I think he had on like a purple tuxedo and had like this crazy clown mask on, a little creepy for me, but hey, it's pretty awesome. And that's just a little bit of customization you can do in this game. Maybe try to intimidate your opponents a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that's it. He certainly intimidated you, so it's working. I think it would intimidate me too. It sounds like a pretty scary one. Yeah, I've been trying to collect all those driver outfits. I've got to say, I've been playing this game since launch. I'm not close. There are so many of them to collect. So if anyone out there in chat has managed to collect every single driver outfit in Forza Motorsport 7, then kudos to you, because I've been playing a long time and not managed it.
It looks like second place is doing pretty well here. MP Racing kind of extending his lead over the driver in third there.
Hey, yeah.
But Colton is way out. He's already at the boot. He's at the laces of the boot. Colton is going towards the toe, and then he's going to reach the heel. See, I can call that out.
Yeah, nailing it. Yeah, I like it.
So
yeah,
I think
MP Racing is going to have his work cut out for him to close that gap. That's half the track at this point. Colton has been practicing. We did see there was an interview that was put together by Special Olympics with Colton Rice, where they had a zoom in on him and chatted a little bit about what he was doing ahead of this event. He did say he'd been practicing with stock cars. So he'd been on the game and practicing with cars that don't have any extra upgrades, don't have any tuning done to them, just the ones that are fresh out of the box. And that's what we use in competition situations. So he's coming serious, he's doing the right kind of practice, and he's doing stuff that applies to the racing.
You know, you've heard the phrase practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect.
That's good. It's like there's a lot of P's.
Oh, yeah. Patience, precision, perfection. That's another one that I love. But, you know, trying to close this gap, it may feel nigh impossible, but you never want to give up. You still want to keep going, even if it's for your own time to get better on this course for, let's say, another tournament. But those points can make such a big difference, because if you're, you know, second, third place and you finish, and then all of a sudden you're in first place for the last round, we'll have to divvy up the points at the end and see who's going to be first. It won't be that clear of a picture.
Yeah. Looks like there's also some license plate customization that you can
get some.
Get some on the back. Not sure he's referring to like food or something there.
All of it. All of it.
Yeah, so you got your license plates, customizations, the American flag going on, and of course we're using the M&M racing car is, I think, the default here with this Toyota.
That's right.
With all those M&Ms decorated on it. Hopefully no one's getting a little hungry out there. If you are, it's okay. Grab a snack. We'll be here. Grab a little snack and enjoy as this race continues. Right now, Colton is working on lapping the field. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, but it's close. He's trying to chase second place here. I think he's already lapped at least one player, but on lap 5 out of 6, going through this boot portion of the track. Now let's get an update here on what's happening in the rest of the race. MP Racing is currently in second place, and unfortunately, Maya Moth dropped back pretty considerably. So I don't know if Maya Moth will be able to close this gap. Yeah, I like the drifting that we're seeing from Maya, though. Using, that's not the emergency brake, is it? When going to...
Maybe a little tap. Maybe a little tap.
A little tap on the emergency brake to kind of get that drift going.
That's what I did back when I drove a two-door coupe. I had an emergency brake every time I got.
What, IRL?
In real life, yep. It's one of the best feelings.
Fast and Furious.
Just always do it where it's safe, of course. But when you zip around like that and you really feel the weight of the car and how it behaves on the road, it's like playing a video game, except you know, you have the full power of the engine. But it's that type of connection to the machine that you have, and it takes practice.
Seeing some of these drivers tackle some of these more technical turns. It's pretty tricky. You want to go fast, but you have to slow down. You have to. I mean, technically, you could try to do the emergency, you know, the parking brake, and then don't slow down, but you have to. You have to slow down and tackle.
You don't want to do that either, because then you're just going to go fast sideways if you just touch the brake.
If you angle it right and you kind of zip yourself around the corner, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, it's about, you know, that's the thing you learn in these games, is that it's this tightrope walk of getting oversteer, so having the rear of the car swing out on you, getting understeer and having the front of the car not respond in the way that you see in the top left here. Oversteer on the way in, understeer on the way out, and you run this, you know, tightrope walk because you're balancing left and something's happening and you try and correct and you overcorrect. It goes off to the right and you have to pull it back again. And when you're on the limit of the car, that will always happen because the rubber is always degrading and falling away from the road. If you're underneath the limit, then you can feel safe and be on all four wheels, but it's not going to be fast enough. So you always have to be pushing every single tire. And yeah, that's what we see here. I mean, Colton, somebody who's able to do that and make it look smooth, is the complete package. Such a great driver.
It's all about just staying as fast as you can around these corners without losing control. It's almost like a quantitative relationship with your speedometer. You want to keep that needle from going down as much as you can while still controlling your car around these corners. And we're seeing Colton kind of display that perfectly here. He just crossed the line in first place, finishing the 6th lap, 11 minutes, 51 seconds, 0.947. Wow. Very nicely done. And looking at second place here, it is going to be MP Racing finishing up. Ooh, uh-oh. I don't want to speak too soon here. Running into a wall. Got to be careful. Allie, can you run into stuff enough that just total your car and just you can't go anymore? I mean, is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have damage on. I don't think we have damage on in this lobby.
Right. So that's a setting. That's a setting you can put on. And okay.
That's a setting you can put on if you want to break the car. It's frustrating to have on. So I think we're going to have it on.
And I wish I could turn that setting off in real life.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, this is a tricky turn here. Let's see how he handles it. Okay, not bad. Slowing down, staying on the road. We saw one player kind of miss that turn a little bit, go off to the left. Kind of technical ending here. And I bet that could be pretty tricky, especially if it's a close race or something. With such a technical ending with all these turns, that can be pretty hard to deal with, I would imagine, if you're trying to finish quickly. You know, you're trying to finish the race, but you have to deal with all these tricky turns at the end.
Yeah, you have a lot of opportunities here. Every turn is another opportunity to make a mistake. That's the way to look at it, you know. Because on the straight, you could just keep the throttle pinned and go and go and go. Don't have to hit the walls. But every time there's a corner, it's another chance to slide a little wide, lose a little time, allow somebody else to have a chance to overtake you. And so yeah, the drivers, I'm sure that, you know, the further up they are in the field, the less corners they want to have happen, if you like.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's an opportunity for everyone behind as well. They'll wish there were a few corners more.
Sure. I feel like more technical turns, more ability to bring the race back. Because that's just where the mastery is shown. How do these drivers handle these turns? As we see Maya Moth cross the line in 3rd place. So that's going to be the conclusion of our 2nd race here, or should I say 3rd?
That was our 3rd of group.
3rd race. That means we have one more to go. Colton Rice doing a great job on Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Road America Full Circuit, and we just saw him take 1st place in Watkins Glen Full Circuit. And now we're going to move over to Sebring International Raceway. 5 laps.
5 laps to go.
And that's going to be the last race that we have here. And it's going to be the last chance for those who are in the race to try to overcome this lead that Colton Rice has accumulated for himself. Here's another rundown of our schedule through Group B. We've gone through the first 3 races there, Indianapolis, Road America, and Watkins. And yes, we're moving on to Sebring International.
Sebring International, final circuit. And again, we're seeing a similar pattern compared to our first group. Number 1 player in the first 3 was able to take the whole thing. We'll see if we're going to replicate that. Again, congratulations to Chris Boogedy, who won our first group. And maybe we'll be congratulating a Colton Rice here in a few. But anything can happen on these races. And seeing that 2nd and 3rd place when it comes to the points, if they can try to overtake, get first, and if Colton doesn't, I would say at least get maybe top 4, then it could be a possible upset for first place. And again, our 2 winners today are going to be joining us this Saturday for our Celebrity Showcase. And a big thank you again to the Special Olympics, Gaming for Inclusion, Xbox, Microsoft, and Special Olympics collaborated to bring these tournaments together. We showcased some Rocket League. We're doing Forza right now. We also have Madden for our 3 games. And again, a huge thank you to Ali joining us, giving us some expert gameplay, really jumping into the wear and tear of these cars and what it takes to be.
There's so much depth. I mean, that's why we love it. There's so much depth, and Ali is here to explain that to us because we don't know. He's the expert.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Meanwhile, here's a look at our leaderboard. Colton Rice, perfect score so far, perfect record, perfection on the track. 60 points in total, 3 wins, 20 points each. Thank you very much. Mike Prebeck with 52, Thomas Stipe with 50. So it is truly a battle for 2nd and 3rd there. And again, to be fair, that 1st place spot is not out of reach. Granted, Colton would have to crash and get like 5th and 4th, but it is possible. So we'll see what happens here as we're about to get into the last race. But I love how close it is from like second. Honestly, the race between 2nd and 3rd has been quite thrilling to watch unfold. A lot of battles happening on the track as all these players trying to race the best that they can.
Yeah, NPR and Maya definitely going back and back. But when Maya had that big crash at the beginning of this last lap series, that just you couldn't really overtake. You know, but if it happens, you shake it off, you keep going. But that is really going to be, I think, the storyline here between 2nd and 3rd. And if one of them can overtake Colton, can make all the difference here in our final race. You know, as we get ready for that final race, we want to invite everybody to hit the follow button right here on twitch.tv/Xbox. We're live with a variety of different games Monday through Friday. We also have special tournaments that occur on the weekends as well. Now, if you are interested in future tournaments, make sure to check out smash.gg/Xbox for our calendar of upcoming events. But Ali, as we're getting this final match underway, this final race underway, can you tell us a little bit more about the landscape of Forza? And if people want to watch more Forza, where can they go?
Yeah, so we have the Forza channel, so twitch.tv/Forza. It's a great place to check out Forza content. We do streams on Motorsport, so the game we're watching right here, Forza Motorsport 7, but also Horizon. Right now we stream a lot of Horizon 4 and also a little bit, tantalizingly, of Forza Horizon 5 out in Mexico, and we've got some streams happening every month highlighting different areas of the upcoming game. You guys can check that all out. Lots and lots of different streamers as well with different expertises. We've got real world racing drivers, we've got car culture enthusiasts, we've got esports chappies like me, and every Sunday as well we have a Spanish language stream with Eternitum. So I would recommend anyone who's out there in chat who wants to get involved with Forza just to come and check out the channel. That's twitch.tv/Forza.
And also check out that awesome trailer. I mean, Forza Horizon 5, Mexico. I was pretty impressed with what we saw there. And if you want to check out some great content from Special Olympics as well, go to youtube.com/Special Olympics. But yeah, kudos to the Forza Horizon 5 team. I mean, that was a great trailer. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I want to say early access November 5th, full release November 9th, November 8th, somewhere. What's that?
9, I think.
9 November 9th. Yeah, so
Forza
Forza Horizon 5 just around the corner.
Yeah.
No, so much hype, so much hype. It looks amazing as well. So many features and different bits and pieces. I saw recently the murals that they have around the map from different Mexican artists that they've put on different buildings. And so cool. Just so much art and culture and car culture in there. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
And the thing with, I mean, it's like, you know, it's almost like a new Halo. It's like a new, right? Like the way you have your different genres in games, right? And when it comes to racing, there's no doubt about it. Forza is near the top as a consideration for one of the top racing games, or something at least that has been embedded in the racing genre throughout a history of video games. Forza has been there. I mean, they're on their 8th title, Forza Motorsport, or 7, I should say, Forza Motorsport 7, Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
So I feel like whenever the new Forza's kind of around the corner, there's just a whole new level of hype. Just honestly, from anyone who's a racing fan, a racing game fan, because this is one of those premier titles that everyone looks out for, and everyone's looking for the next, you know, the next edition around the corner. So I'm excited for all racing fans out there, and of course, I'm excited on behalf of us here, because there's no doubt that we're going to be showing more Forza in the future. It's a nice game, fun game.
It's a great game. And now the biggest question I'm going to have that I hope people can chime in and converse online about, and maybe you and I and Allie can talk about too, is do you use 2 feet or just 1 foot when you're driving? Do you just use 1 foot for escalation and braking, or do you use both?
I think it depends.
I think it depends on the people, but I mean, you gotta be able to make that decision. But some people prefer to have for just, you know, just 1 foot driving. What do you think, Allie? Is it double feet, 1 foot? What do you use?
We have this concept of a clutch in Europe with a stick. So you're gonna need left foot to use that.
Exactly.
But yeah, it depends. I think I would get told off. I used to do left foot braking because I did go-karting when I was a kid, and so you'd have a foot for each pedal. But I got told off about that because it's bad. You'll break your car.
Oh man!
So now I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. This reminds me of a quote from Back to the Future 2, where he's playing that arcade game, and the young kids, one of them played by Elijah Wood, looks at him and is like, "You mean you got to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy." I'm like, what games are these kids playing? You know, jeez. But yeah, the clutch system.
Use your mind.
Use your mind.
Drive the car.
That's right. I mean, you have to.
We're not there yet.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Full interface. Full interface.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting question though. Maybe in like the highest level of racing, how different is it with those foot pedals? And honestly, there's probably conditioning considerations you have to have with, like, you know, first of all, staying hydrated and healthy in the car, but also if you're moving your feet or legs around a lot in a long race, that is some physical consideration you have to have, right, Allie?
Oh, I mean, Formula One drivers are athletes. And if you look at the weight of a brake pedal in a Formula One car, they have to train. You see them in all sorts of amazing rigs. They train their feet to push the pedals. They have these cool things where they have like a helmet on and then some strings attached to it. And they have like weights to pull left and right inside the helmet so that they can train their necks to withstand the G-forces when they're going round long corners. It's like fighter pilots in those machines, and it's getting to a point now as well where the fastest cars are getting towards the limit of the human body. So we really can't go any faster, not because the machinery can't, but because the human body is the flesh is weak and flabby.
That's why you gotta get suits. and then the Avengers step in. I mean, that's how we get superheroes.
And that's where we go with this. Yeah, that's the trajectory.
Pretty much. But always that drive. Or we have video games too, but always that drive to, to be the best and to reach the limit or surpass the limits. And that has been, I think, one of the most captivating elements of seeing, man and machine every year, trying to figure out who's the best. And you see these competitions, you have the sponsors, but between the teams, the engineers, and also, your eyes and ears that are out there to help the drivers know what's going on the track that they can't see, or to help prepare them, or if they can see any damage or something's wrong with the car, and to help inform them. So these teams really have to be so locked in to the minute details of how this machine is functioning at such a high speed, and what type of micro adjustments they have to make in order to have the macro outcomes. And that's, faster times on the track, tighter turns, etc. And it's been dramatized a number of times in different films for sure. But when you actually get behind these cars, in real life, I'm sure it's a crazy exhilaration. But the next best thing is to play it via a video game, be it through a controller interface or the full, steering wheel and pedals. But the fundamentals, and at least with the game designers trying to build the most accurate way they can with Forza, but the fundamentals are still the same. And that's what I really enjoy about racing games, being somebody who loves, flying, training to be a pilot back in the day. But a lot of those core principles of when you're in control, it's so much easier to deal with the G-forces and to know what's coming your way because you can anticipate it. If you're a passenger in one of these cars in real life, oh no, you got to have the vomit bag. It's going to get nuts. But there is no magic wand that can replace the time and the training it takes to become one with these cars. I mean, that's really what these drivers are doing, and to do it not just for a couple minutes at a time and taking a break, for very long stretches of time. So I'd like to agree with you, Ali, about the athletic nature of it. And again, shout out to our Special Olympics athletes that are joining us today for this tournament. And it looks like we're getting ready for the final race for our final group. Will it be a closeout for the Rice family, or will we see an upset?
Something else that I think is fascinating. I don't know if Forza will ever build it in, or maybe they have it in there, but the pit stop, right? The ridiculous things that are being done in the pit stop in these races. I've gone down the rabbit hole before on the internet, like looking out for some videos. There's this one video where this car is completely destroyed, and they roll it in there into the shop, and you look at this thing, you're like, it's total, it's done. But literally, they show the video feed, and it's like a 45-minute video or something, and they completely turn that car brand new.
Wow.
After just like literally all these people running around doing what they need to do, getting underneath, and they're also doing it really fast because you got a car that has to get back out on the track. So just Ali, there's no shortage of depth in these races, and here we go.
There is no shortage.
Into Sebring International Raceway.
Here we go, Sebring. I mean, pit stops here are very important. I mean, that's a great point. We were talking earlier about how this track is built on the concrete that used to line the runway of a World War II airport, and it destroys car suspension. That's what you can see here with people bumping around and sliding around on that concrete as they try and work out what the limit of grip with these tires in this car on this day in history is around this track. The fastest drivers here will be the ones who understand a little bit of the engineering of a car, a little bit of how they work, and understand where they need to back off, and where they can really pin that throttle.
Ooh, spin out.
Yeah, we're seeing Maya Moth. This corner has to have a name, right, Ali? I mean, we're looking at Maya Moth right now. This
dead man.
It's like the end of a pointed nose or something, like just complete switchback.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Tell us about that turn. That's got to have some history.
I think it's just called the hairpin. Okay. Sadly, and it is a pretty notorious corner, but it's a.
Everyone just crashed into it. Sorry, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all done, all straight into the wall.
It's a very tricky one. Sometimes there's a bit of asphalt down there, so you can kind of pretend it's a Joker lap sometimes. You can miss your braking and just let go of the brakes and run down the asphalt and turn around at the bottom of it. One of the things that is quite a good opportunity to see is the little flaps that are popping up on the top of the car when these things spin around. Those are designed, they're a safety protocol brought in actually for this generation of NASCAR, of stock car, to stop the cars from, there we go, there's one popping up there.
Yeah, I saw that. Wow.
To stop the cars from flipping over. So it's an air brake, essentially.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice sort of safety addition.
Whoa.
They're not powered either, they're entirely passive, so it's when the wind gets underneath them that they just pop up. So it's just aerodynamics keeping them down in normal situations. Kind of nice little graceful bit of technology.
So that's great. Such a simple thing that
yeah,
hugely important. I'm having some fun going to some of these.
Those air brakes are going to help you there. You need brake brakes.
Yeah, just brake brakes will do the job.
Okay, but hey, our
like
driver here, who is this? He's in the 6th position. I mean, those two just crashed, so he's going to try to catch up to him. I always look out for that. It's you got to look out. You know, always be ready for people in front of you to crash because you might be able to bring it back, and that's what we just saw here. Nice picking up some ground here in this Toyota. In this red Toyota, I should say.
We can take a look at the livery here on this Toyota. This is one put together shortly after, I think, last year's competition. It's a beautiful livery, I think made by Little Vixen. So big shout out to Little Vixen out in the community who made this Special Olympics special Toyota livery with the logo on it and with the white and red colors. It's a little bit banged up now, a little bit secondhand, but new and sparkly. I promise you the colors are all very vibrant, vibrant.
And nothing a quick stop in the pit stop can't fix.
Right. They'll buff it out.
Those pros there in that pit stop. Oh no! There's another wall. I love this battle though that we just saw. This is between number 4 and number 5. Both trying to navigate this wall and actually both crashing and both peeling away at about the same time. So still around within reach of each other. Who is that just in front? Let me switch over to see who's in front there. That's SO Esports, who is just ahead of, I believe that's Wackaboy. Trying to extend the lead. I want to kind of stay here because they're going to go towards this technical turn. And Ali, maybe you can give us some guidance here. Let's pretend we're the driver and you're coaching. He'll figure it out. It's okay. Pretend you're coaching here. We're going towards this straightaway, and tell us how you would kind of navigate this. We're looking at car number 4, who's going towards that infamous little hairpin.
Yeah. Here we go. So what you want to do is spot your braking here. We come under the bridge, and on your left there are some brake markers. A lot of them have been pulled away. And when you get to the 300 marker or so, you want to be heavy on the brakes. So miss the 300 marker there, and you're going to see him carrying too much speed down toward the apex. The trick is, no one runs a perfect race. No one makes no accidents. So don't let that get you down. But at the same time, next time round, you come around to the hairpin, you think to yourself, all right, I braked at the 200 marker.
Right.
Maybe that was a little optimistic.
Right here, he got it.
Next time round, I'm going to try the 300 marker and give myself a little bit more time to slow down.
I just switched over to our driver who's in 6th. We just saw 2 drivers crash into the wall, and we switched over to this guy, and he did a perfect little turn around that corner. So that is awesome to see. And this is another tricky turn that they're going up on here. I'm going to see how he handles this. If you look on the map, everyone crashed here. So let's see how he handles this. Got to slow it down. Slow down and turn right out. Just barely going to get the best of him there. And actually, now I'm going to cycle over to our leader, who's about to come to this. Who's about to try to lap these guys. He's coming to the same turn, so we can kind of see how to manage this. This is Colton Rice. He's winning right now. Let's see how he handles this. Come to this turn, slowing down pretty dramatically there, but look, super smooth, not going into the grass at all, and that he made it look easy.
Yep, heavy on the brakes early, managed to release the brakes smoothly and run the car into the apex, onto the power and through the double left, and here we are in tower turn, and beautifully apexing that as well. That corner he's taken really nicely. Both the curves there on the inside, on the apex, and on the outside of the corner when you're running out are very bumpy, so you don't want to touch them. Here we are through the straight flat section until we come to the end of the lap. And again, you want to be a little bit shy of the curves here just because they are quite bumpy. They can throw the car off quite easily. It's doing a beautiful job here, just keeping that thing smooth and flowing through each of these corners. A little bit of slide there as we go through T16 and up towards Sunset. I like this because we can stay on board with him and check out the change in track material here. We're on the asphalt right now, but as we get up toward that top turn, suddenly the ground underneath is going to change color slightly, and you're going to see it change over just here to that concrete. And now you're bumping over big square slabs of World War II concrete. It is completely bumpy, and it is very, very difficult to keep the car in a straight line. I know Colton Rice plays with RC trucks, puts together little remote control trucks, and as someone who's done that in the past myself as well, I know that gives you a really good feeling for the engineering of a race car, how suspension works, what different elements go into it. And I think that's what's coming through here with Colton, that he's able to know how a car's put together, know what he needs to do to help that car through the corner. Nice driving.
Yeah, doing a great job here. Clearly calm, collected. Is making it look easy, and I can assure you, it's not. It's not easy. Maybe not.
Not easy to do that.
You know, not as easy as it looks. Let's see how he approaches this hairpin turn once again, staying on the left-hand side. Now, I guess trying to slow down. Oh, caught it a little wide there.
I was wincing because he got a left-hand tire onto the grass during his braking. That just slows down your deceleration. You want to have all your wheels as much grip as you possibly can while you're doing something like braking.
So, Ali, the signs on the side is the visual cue right there on the left. Is that a standard? Like, is that on every turn? Is that pretty much always what these drivers are looking at when deciding when to brake?
So, for some drivers, yes, exactly.
And is that a good way to do it if you're newer, I guess?
Well, that's what I was going to get on to next. You're quite right, because the best thing to do, and I still do it. I've played the game for over 10 years. I still do. I still have the racing line set on, and you can turn on the racing line. You can't see it here in the spectate, but for the drivers, they'll be able to see a line painted onto the track, which is red and green, and will tell you when to get on the brakes, and will tell you when to get on the accelerator. And for some people, when you're just starting the game, it's like really prescriptive. You know, it tells you what you need to do. But once you've played for a long time, you start instead using it as a brake marker, and you start looking at it and being like, okay, I know I can slightly beat the line on this corner, or I have to be a little shy of the line on this corner. It's a little bit optimistic. And you just learn how to judge your brake markers from that racing line. Sure. And so for someone like me who's memorized every track with the racing line, turning it off is really difficult. But for some other drivers, they never ran with it in the first place, and they're just that skilled. It goes both directions. I would very much recommend, though, if you're new to Forza, especially if you're new to racing games, pop the racing line on. It's just going to make the game more fun for you and make it more enjoyable. You can spend more time thinking about how fast you're going and enjoying racing rather than kind of sliding off the track, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is interesting to me just thinking about the visual cues, because that must apply to real life. Obviously, these drivers going around these tracks, they have their cues, they have their strategies when thinking about when to brake. How to tackle these tracks. Think about it.
And it's a memorization game. Right. It's almost like a mantra that these people repeat to themselves. They'll come down a straight, like with Colton here, and we can all pick up our Xbox controllers and twiddle our thumbs and pretend we're as good as Colton is, and think about what he's thinking about, because he'll be spotting on the left. Okay, 300 marker, get heavy on the brakes. Okay, I see the curb end on the left-hand side. I'm going to make my turn in through the curb there. Nice. Power out. Don't touch the outside apex. Don't touch the inside apex. And he'll be repeating this whole mantra to himself around the whole circuit as he guides himself around. And that's what all racing drivers do, whether out loud or just in their heads, or they're so good at it that they don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, I feel like you might evolve away from the signs, even where you become so used to it, or it's just second nature. Like, I'm sure the best drivers, they don't need a cue necessarily. They just know. It's like, again, it's just second nature. Just like breathing or something. Yeah. That's just how good they are. And I'm sure that's what we see amongst the top players in Forza. They've had so many runs around these tracks. They don't need any. They could almost do it blindfolded, I would argue.
Yeah. I mean, Ayrton Senna talked about the car as an extension of the body, and I think that's the level you're getting to there. But that's past where I'm at for sure. And blindfolded, I wouldn't have a chance.
Well, hey, we might have a winner crowned here, because we are in the last lap. We're in the final stretch. I'm sure this feels great. No technical terms left. Just a huge straightaway here. You're pedal to the metal. You're celebrating in your car already. You're shouting at your coach in your comms, saying how happy you are. Get the champagne ready, whatever. And then you're going through this final straightaway. You're in front. That's got to feel good for Colton here. Winning every single race here in Group B, crossing the finish line. And this is where he starts doing his donuts. That's got to feel good.
Respect to Colton there. What a lot of practice I'm sure he put in before this event, and it's just paying off so well. Just 4 just perfect races for him. Led from the front and able to put in the laps that he wanted to put in. He looked so classy on track as well. Great result.
All right, going to second place here, kind of taking a look at the field. We have the M&M car of MP Racing 24. Sizable lead here over third place. And this was a pretty significant battle between second and third. So really a lot of kudos here to MP Racing, holding it together in a big way. and he's going to be finishing in second, well ahead of third place, almost 3/4 of a lap ahead of third place. So I'm sure MP Racing is thrilled about this performance here, getting second place. You know, it's tough if you've got someone who's out there just winning. I feel like you can almost be like, you know what, they were supposed to win. They're really good.
So let me fight for second.
Yeah,
place.
you should be. I would be thrilled getting second place here, knowing that you're probably second best of the rest here. So, also, I believe we have multiple drivers who might be able to play in our showcase.
Yep,
So
we'll invite a couple drivers to join the winners as well on Saturday to help fill out the race. Absolutely. So kudos to everybody that signed up and participated and gave it their all.
There's MP Racing crossing in second place, and I'm sure fist bumping all the way. And then we have Maya in third, and that's pretty much going to wrap up our race here. But once again, the story of this Group B has been Colton Rice just racing, driving as well as he could, and that it turns out that that's enough to win every single race here. But now we have a nice little moment to think about what has happened in Group A and what has happened in Group B, because what we saw, two really high class racers, drivers, winning their respective groups.
Yep.
So it begs the question, when are we going to see those two in action against each other?
Saturday. We're going to see that Saturday. But no, it's a great point. We did see two drivers really step up to the plate and really deliver today, and some excellent driving. But we did see a number of competitors today really vying for that second, third placement, because they knew if they were able to overtake at least one of their other competitors, they maybe had a shot at first. So a lot of great efforts coming out of all of our Special Olympic athletes today. And there is the final tally for the points. Colton Rice is your winner, 80 points total. Mike Pribeck in second place with 70. Thomas Stipin 66 at third. Scott Chirac, who couldn't get any points in that first lap, but was able to get all the way to fourth. So well done at 52. And Julius Levesky at fifth. Austin Henry, Dustin Wessels, Dustin Wessels, Christopher Davidson, Scott Chirac, and Bill Kerher rounding out the rest of it.
I will say, too, I mean, something that is just so wonderful about competitive video games, here we are, is that no matter what level you're at, you can find some nice competition. I mean, you look at Mike and Thomas, that was a remarkable battle that they had for second place. And I would almost look at that and take that and be like, look, that's a potential practice partner for future races. Like, I hope they become friends and that, they practice. And that's what's great about video games. You can do that. You can play. You don't have to be the best, but no matter what, you can compete against other people who are around your skill level. So I just want to encourage others out there to do that. It's a ton of fun. Look, I'm not the best at Forza. I'm not going to go challenge Ali to a one-on-one. It's not going to happen. However, if I challenge Joshua, we're probably close to the same level. I bet we would have a great time racing in some Forza. That's kind of the point. Even though Ali is so much better than us, we can still find so much joy in racing in Forza and going after it, even though we're finishing a minute behind Ali. But that's okay. I mean, it's just the importance is just competing and having a good time.
And the fun for us is like, we know that we need to improve, but we have somebody to measure against. We have a standard, and that's Ali or some other of these pros that show or stream online on Twitch or put up their VODs on YouTube. And to have those tools in front of us, we can have a great competition because it's an even playing field. But then we're like, all right, one of us has to beat Ali one of these days. Who's going to do it? But, Ali...
If one of us can drive backwards and mess with him, and the other one, then I think we can
chew bubblegum at the same time.
It's so well said, though, guys, because... the community in Forza is really big, and not everybody in that community can be the very fastest person out there, right? And so we're all out driving and just loving the wheel-to-wheel racing that you get with somebody who's close to you, who's on pace, who has a similar amount of wheel-to-wheel experience as well. And that's why this this big community of different racing leagues and all these kinds of different things pop up around Forza, and that's why I love seeing it. As well as that, it's one of these games where you can, and I think this is a little uncommon maybe, where you can have lots of different roles as well. Some people spend their whole time on Forza just painting, or their whole time just being engineers and tuning cars, or their whole time building teams or building events. And so there's a lot of different ways to have fun on Forza, and it doesn't have to be about being the fastest person out there. I'm not the fastest. There are people who are faster than me. And so, you know, to reach the top of that mountain, good luck to you, but it's not everyone's goal, you know.
No, I mean, everybody has their passions, but I think for so many of us, especially in the competitive scene, our goal is to win. So if you put a controller in our hands, we want to find a way to win and figure out what is the meta, what do I have to do. But with racing games, I mean, one of the game types that's been with us, I would say since probably the very beginning, I mean, for quite some time, and to just factor the same principles and the same fundamentals. I mean, really to just know when to de-escalate, to really know how your car is going to perform, especially around those turns. And I remember pumping quarters in at different arcade machines with, you know, different layouts. Cruising USA was one of them, and being like, how is it this computer beats me every time? Well, let me watch somebody else play and let me see how the computer performs. Oh, they're braking way earlier, or no, they're not accelerating till this point. And you just get to see the science and the math in front of you of why these are the best decisions. And I'm sure some of these athletes today that watched our top players win can go back and watch the VODs, or maybe ask them in chat if there's, you know, some pointers that they have. But even for me, watching today's competitions, I really like seeing some of these players learn and adapt and really know when to slow down for some of these turns, and when to overtake their opponents and when to play it safe. So again, kudos to all these players, and I do believe we may have our winners standing by for an interview, so we'll get them on in just a second. But as we wait, you know, Alex, I wanted to also say that we got to be careful driving home, because I'm so inspired now watching this that staying in the HOV lane, I'm like, I'm going to hug this turn. No.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean,
go the speed limit.
We were joking about it on the way here. We were smart. We carpooled, so we were able to get on the HOV coming here, and we were just passing everyone. We're like, you know what? We're getting in the mood here, baby.
Yes.
We're getting in the Forza
like our
mood.
fastest time getting here,
I know.
too.
And then I saw a cop. I'm like, Josh, you should slow down, man.
I was going the speed limit.
We're not in a video game right now.
I know what I was doing. No, definitely in the racing spirit for sure. And we'll be back in the racing spirit Saturday with our celebrity showcase featuring our winners.
Yeah, and huge congratulations to honestly every single athlete that has competed in all of our events. It's been so much fun putting it on for you guys across all these titles, right? Rocket League, Forza, Madden. Really cool to see everyone who's participating and competing, and I hope everyone's having fun. It feels like everyone is. I hope everyone's making some friends. You know, events like this can also inspire you to just want to get better, want to improve, and that can be really fun too. You know, after you're done here, don't feel bad if you didn't play well or if you didn't win or whatever. Just keep playing and have fun and work on improving. That's where I find a lot of fulfillment, at least. That's why I commentate, you know.
Now, looking at these cars that were chosen today, you know, kind of looking at this from an objective standpoint, Allie, if you had a choice to pick one of these cars and one of these tracks, you know, which one would it be?
If I could take one out on a track, I would take the Porsche out around Sebring. That's what I would do. Yeah. How about you guys? What's your call?
I think I'd agree with you. Porsche and Sebring. I like those turns on Sebring. I like some of the straightaways. You know,
I want to go to the imaginary track. You guys can have fun on your Sebring. I'm going to the Alps, baby.
Gotcha.
I'm going to the imaginary Swiss Alps, but I'm making sure I'm staying bundled up.
Yeah.
But that'd be cool to check out. Imaginary place.
Nice.
We're nearing the end of our broadcast here. Once again, congrats to all of our players, and for our winners, I think we're saying see you later to Mr. Ali Tack. I think that's our process here. So Ali, once again, thank you so much for hanging out. I can't wait to hang out with you again for our celebrity showcase. Very much looking forward to everything you have going on in Forza. Any final shout outs, anything you want to say before we let you go?
Just to thank you two guys and everyone out at Special Olympics for this opportunity. So fabulous. Xbox as well. You guys are awesome. All right. Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thank you, Ali.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. Ali, he will continue to be in the Forza scene commentating as Forza continues its competitive endeavors going into the future. So I would be excited if you're into Forza. Stay excited, be excited. You're going to see more Ali in the future and more Forza competitions. I've been so happy that I've been able to be involved with it in the past. Super cool, all the stuff that they have going on. But that is going to do it for us today.
Yo, we're going to take a quick break, actually, and then we have the winner's ceremony right after. Yeah. Okay. So you want to stick around for a few more minutes, folks. So yeah, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's the winner's ceremony, and we'll get to wrap up our Forza tournament for the Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion. Stay tuned.
When I play, I can do amazing things. I can run, I can jump, and I'm still learning to do more.
Special Olympics Young Athletes helps young children around the world discover their abilities and develop their strengths through the power of sport and play. Young Athletes introduces basic sports skills like kicking and throwing through fun activities to children with and without intellectual disabilities, ages 2 to 7. Children of all ability levels participate, and they all benefit. They develop important motor skills, grow stronger, build confidence at every milestone, and learn to interact and communicate with others. Families share in the fun and learn to support their child's development. And everyone learns acceptance and friendship. With activities in more than 125 countries, Young Athletes reaches children around the world, giving families, communities, and schools the tools to create inclusive environments and help children of all abilities unlock their potential and envision brighter hopes for the future.
I love to play. It makes me happy to play with friends, and it helps me be the best I can be. So come on, let's play together.
Hi, I'm Christopher Bell, the number 20 Toyota NASCAR driver for the Joe Gibbs Racing Team. I want to give a shout out to all of the athletes and unified partners participating in the 2021 Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event, and a thank you to everyone who is tuning in and to cheer them on. Your participation in this virtual opportunity proves the power of sport and the power of inclusion remains strong and can be shared together even if we aren't physically together. And what an exciting way to connect through a mutual love and appreciation for esports. Tune in to watch the Xbox Twitch channel on September 18th.
Unified track makes me feel special because some people see me and they're like, oh my God, that kid is so fast. He looks like a great runner.
When I tried unified sports, I actually managed to make friends, and that feeling is more important to me than regular track.
Unified sports makes everybody be able to better their best.
Welcome to Inclusion Weekly, a show about how schools and students are working with Special Olympics to push for equal rights and opportunities for students with intellectual disabilities. Today, we're looking at the important role of unified sports. Unified Sports is a program where sports teams have a combination of people with and without intellectual disabilities, putting them on an equal playing field. It allows students who might typically be excluded to represent their school and be cheered on by their peers. Do you feel included on the Unified Track team?
Of course I feel included because they find me really smart and kind, honest, and I kind of like give them a little boost whenever they're like falling behind.
I do feel included, and I've always liked Unified very much.
I quickly learned how great of a personality everyone's had there, and it led me to realize that I could also be having a great experience by joining Unified Sports.
People in Unified Sports are less likely to experience bullying, and they have a more positive outlook on life.
I have been teased a lot since elementary school, and that like hurts my feelings. Unified Track really did help me a lot. I can hear people cheering for me, and it helps me not think about all the times I had in the past.
To watch the students in both classrooms come together and work together, and it just makes you feel good that we have this opportunity to have these programs here at the high school.
Unified Sports has taught me that anyone can do anything, no matter if you have an intellectual disability or not. If you are interested in Unified Sports, contact your local Special Olympics program and talk to your athletic directors and coaches to see if they can help you start a unified program at your school. It just takes one person to get things moving.
I saw the light flicker across the wall. Memories, they seem so far. I was blind to I was lost at sea till you came along.
What will you do when life gets hard? Will you run from it, or will you stay and try to overcome it?
Just don't be afraid of the future. Go out into the unknown and try.
Nobody should have to feel like they're not wanted for something that they can't control.
It's like I am embracing my inner self.
It's about building something that you're going to eventually look back on and be proud of.
These are bonds that can never be broken. I'm never going to forget these moments. It's a beautiful thing.
Special Olympics has changed my life so dramatically.
I truly realize that what I'm doing is for a great cause.
It's helped me a lot to be fearless, in the real world.
My friends I've made through Special Olympics are the best people I've ever met in my life.
I've made a difference. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
We are champions together.
Making a difference every day.
Amazing. You ain't never seen this. But this is what living
from our team to yours.
On behalf of everyone from Toyota, we encourage you to start your impossible.
Let's do it.
Now's the fun part!
Hey everyone, welcome back to our Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event featuring Forza Motorsport 7 as part of the Special Olympics mission to empower everyone through gaming, and of course the collaboration of Microsoft, Xbox, and Special Olympics. We just wrapped up Forza action. I'm Axel Toss, joined by Joshua Gray, and we are getting into the awards ceremony. Look at the screen. What's going on, Joshua?
Hey, I'm excited to showcase our two winners today. Now, they will be joining us for the Celebrity Showcase. But again, both of our players looking really, really good between both of their groups. Our first group, it was Boogity 2 that was able to get the victory. In our second group, it was Colton Rice. Very, very impressive play from both of these players, really winning between their group, and decisively so. You saw kind of like maybe the first race, maybe it could have been a different outcome on who's going to get first place, but once they solidified first place, boom, they went all the way.
And look at, we see the fireworks on display here in Minecraft. Beautiful, obviously in Olympics fashion. We have our medals, right? Gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal. 2021, we got some fancy cars in the background. Dang it, I should have joined this game. I wanna be on the podium.
Those podiums look great. Yeah, shout out to the Special Olympics team for putting that together. But for these cars to look drivable, I would say, in Minecraft. You know, wins the next racing circuit inside of Minecraft we'd love to see. But yeah, congratulations to our competitors. You know, to be able to take first place here, definitely, you know, a big thing as they move on against the celebrities for the Celebrity Showcase. But also our winners are taking home Forza Motorsport 7. The winners will receive car racing suite passes, including a meet and greet with a Toyota professional driver and travel expenses. These are 2 packages worth up to $7,500. So again, thanks to everybody for making this happen and for our winners to have some more fun memories in store for them.
Yes, and shout out to, again, everyone who helped make this happen. I don't know how this map came into being. The more I see it, the more I love it. This is literally the award ceremony here. We have a gold medal, a silver medal, and a bronze medal. This is your podium in Minecraft. And our players are there on the podium itself. So once again, congrats to all of our players who participated and competed, and especially everyone who found a lot of success. It's really cool to see the amount of competition coming out from these players, and honestly, how close it was across all of our titles.
It was very, very close across the titles. Great to see these Special Olympic athletes joining us for these competitions digitally, and hopefully we can have more in the future. But if you love the content, press that follow button and make sure to check out youtube.com/Special Olympics. Again, a huge thank you to the athletes and to everybody that tuned in to support. And looking forward to more competitions in the future right here on the channel.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching our coverage of this Special Olympics Gaming for Inclusion event. Again, the mission to empower everyone through gaming. Congratulations to everyone who participated, competed, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.